that all us veterans do, and it's not.
All right, we should be live.
Are we live, people?
We are
Say
on
hi.
the air. Yes, we should be. I'm gonna go over to YouTube just to make sure. And but I am fairly positive.
Hi, y'all.
Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, I'll quiet that down. All right, so yes, it's official. We are live.
Woo!
We're in the middle of a conversation there, but so for everybody else who saw us in the middle of that conversation, welcome to Carnivore Talk. This is a roundtable discussion here on Monday nights where anybody is allowed to participate. You can participate even on screen with the three of us right now, and we've got room for 10. And sometimes we have 6, 7 individuals. And if you would like the link, there's 2 ways you can guarantee to get it. And one is by being a member of the channel. But that costs you something. But we don't want your money. We actually want you to come on here for free. And so if you do that, you can go over to carnivore-talk.com and register for an account. And that's where we talk about carnivore throughout the week. But there's a link in the private forum there where you can join the StreamYard. Now, last week, I shared the StreamYard link here in the chat. And it actually worked out pretty well. So I might do that again here in a little bit after we get some introductions out of the way. So we want to say good evening to Meathead, who is going either by Kurt or Kurt. If you see that on the screen, it doesn't matter.
As long as you pronounce it the right way.
Right.
Yeah, he's a Kurt fella.
Yeah. Very similar. I go by Bob, or if you like to say that backwards, I go by Bob. So, that works as well. And we want to welcome back Geoff Geezy to our Monday nights. He was gone last week, and it's a pleasure to have him back here again. So how's everybody doing? How have you been, Geoff? You've been the one that's been
good. Been good. Been real busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got back from Louisiana yesterday and out visiting my sister, and she's not doing real good, but we're getting things wrapped up, tied up, and there's just a lot to do when you have a death in the family, of a parent, and so we're still muddling through all that, and then in the meantime, we're also looking to move, so we're doing a lot of house hunting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned that before. Got a lot on your plate there.
Yeah, sure do. Been busy.
Yeah. And how have things been going for you, Kurt?
Well, this is, as you can see, that's my blood pressure when I didn't eat natto because I went out to Korean barbecue yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens when you off blood pressure and not eating my natto.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you should help yourself to a serving with numbers like that. Yeah, mine average is 160 over 100, but that's due to my chronic kidney disease. So
right,
and I had that down for a while till we had that whole drug fiasco, thanks to my doctor. But that's all on the YouTube channel. You may probably familiar with that story anyway. So that's we talk about that some other time. Over here in the chat, I see Don. How you doing, Don? It's glad you could join us. And we see Lisa, and there's Granny Boo from Oklahoma, and there's Thomas, Target Prime Rib.
Ooh, Thomas.
Yeah. And we're going to go ahead and share the link. And so there you go. If you're watching us from YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, and you would like to join us on screen here, whether you have experience as a carnivore, whether you are interested in learning more about carnivore and have some questions, and instead of wanting to type it in, you can ask us face to face, and we'll be happy to answer it for you. And so come join us. Join us on screen. We actually have no set theme tonight, and that's because I was also busy over the weekend. I went to Michigan to my wife's aunt and uncle's, and I tiled their kitchen floor. And so I worked all day Saturday from like noon to 10. That's when I usually come up with a thumbnail and a theme. And then yesterday had to grout it and drive all the way home. So we're freewheeling it on this Monday night. And that's why we've decided to call it an open mic night, because we can talk about anything that's on our minds. All right. And hi, Kitchen Witch. It's good to see you here. Come join us on the screen if you like. So I posted the link in the chat. All right. So with all your goings on, Geoff, I'm sure a man as faithful as you are has been able to stay carnivore through the thick and the thin in the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
Absolutely. No problems.
Right.
To start with, I was in charge of, after the funerals, I was in charge of setting up the after funeral luncheon, dinner, whatever you want to call it. So I made sure it was at my favorite barbecue place. I had them cater it and all. So we all ate good there. And of course, we had a bunch of family in town. So I went to Costco and I bought a very large whole ribeye roast. And I was able to get 15 1-pound steak cuts out of that ribeye roast. And I smoked those up on my smoker along with 3 pounds of hamburgers for the kids. And so I'm still eating on that from last week. And then when we went to Louisiana to go see my sister, spend some time with her. Let's see, each day I had ribeye. We went out to eat at a restaurant, had ribeye. Went to Copeland's. Copeland's is a good place in Louisiana. And there I can get crawfish on top of my ribeye too. So that was pretty tasty. And here's the deal now. Of course, I'm only getting a 14-ounce ribeye, and that's not enough for me. I mean, I got to have a minimum of a pound, and I prefer more like 26 ounces to 2 pounds. And so I'm gone for several days. I come back and I weigh myself this morning. I've lost 3 pounds. I'm not trying to lose weight. I can't afford to lose weight. I was already at 160. Now I'm at 157. So I need to pack a few pounds back on. I need to hit the weights hard.
All right. Very good. I'm currently sitting at 176, which is good. I was up because I actually broke 180 the other week, and I wasn't too thrilled about that, but that it came off. That happens. So my weight oscillates pretty extreme, actually, and I think mine has a lot to do with hydration because my kidneys. I hold on to water, but I was 176 this morning, which is my average, so I'm happy with that. Very good. Heading back to the chat here, we see Target Prime Rib asks, so is carnivore where you eat only meat, or do you only eat veggies shaped like meat? And I know you're being facetious, but I actually had an article show up on my news feed the other day when I opened up my browser. I think it's the MSN start page. And there was an article about how to do carnivore vegan style. And I read this ridiculous piece of work. And it was the writer, the author of the article was doing a carnivore diet, but they were all plant-based swaps. So you had your veggie bacon, you had your veggie chicken breast, you had your veggie burger, and you had your plant-based cheese. So there was really
I'm getting nauseous.
There was no really animal products in it, but in the conclusion of her article was like, oh, she felt great doing her version of a carnivore diet. So we know you're being facetious, but for someone else, that could be a real question. And they might really think they could do a carnivore diet using only vegetables, which of course is absurd. All right. Grammy G, welcome to the chat tonight. It's good to see you. And Kitchen Witch says she's got a few pounds you can have there, Geezy.
I'll take them.
Yeah. Has anyone ever seen a veggie hot dog?
No.
So not in person, but I saw a video from, and this person's nuts. If you ever want to like blow your mind at some of the stuff that's out there, that should be a theme one time. Which is just cringy TikToks, cringy vegan TikToks or something we should sit here and just watch and make fun of all night. But I think it was Freely the Banana Girl boiled a carrot and put the carrot in a hot dog bun and called it a hot dog. So that was her idea of a veggie hot dog.
No, there's some sick people out there.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine that would taste good. So
No.
I mean, if you want a hot dog, you want a hot dog. A carrot's going to taste like a carrot. And it's not that a carrot tastes bad, but it's just not a hot dog. There's no substitute.
Well, the whole concept of a vegetarian, vegan, whatever, trying to create food that resembles meat, that tastes like meat, just shows that they know they are wrong. They know that they have no conviction to be a true vegan or vegetarian. They miss meat. Their body is craving meat. Their body wants meat because they're deficient in all the vitamins that meat gives them. And so they're trying to create something, that's not in their diet. They're craving it. And because if they were really true to their faith, and it is a faith, it's a religion to them. If they were really true to it, they wouldn't have any desire for that. Now you take us carnivores. Most carnivores get to a point where they don't want vegetables in their life. They may, in the beginning, they may crave them a little bit because they're used to them. Some people love them. I can't see why, but some people do. And yet there comes a point where they lose that desire, that craving. It's no longer there. In fact, if you put a plate of broccoli in front of them, you might as well be putting a pile of cow manure in front of them. It equates to the same thing. It's not even considered food anymore, and they can't get over that. And that's why they keep trying to create this stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's absurd.
Yeah, it makes me think of a meme I can show you right now on the site here. Let me share a screen. And we got this over on our gallery over at Carnivore Talk. But it's this one here. Meat is so good that even vegans pretend they're eating it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And there's so much truth to that. And they're always trying to imitate, mimic, create substitutes. And I don't know. Just eat the real thing. It's healthier for you.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the chat here. Latro hot tip from Dave in Austin. I'm not 100% what that means. Not sure what that means.
Probably a hat tip.
Hat tip? Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not wearing my glasses.
All right. Well, mine are brand new, so it's blurry. I'm having to tilt my head back to read things. So, all right. Hat tip from Dave. Okay. Welcome, Dave. Okay. And we tip our hats to you too. All right. And then we sell, I'm supposed to be bringing these up on the screen. Let's do that. All right. So we sell Beyond Brats at the restaurant. It looks like pink slime. Nicest way to put it.
We could go sideways on this vegans pretending with fake meat. I don't want to go political or anything else, but it's not a good combination. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I used to take a mozzarella stick, put it in a hot dog bun, and call it a cheese dog. Yeah, that sounds like
Thomas. Cute Thomas.
sounds like fair food. And then, according to our friend here, the vegan hot dogs, the vegan brats are not a popular item. Surprise, surprise. But we do have chaffles.
And that's a good point.
Yep,
that
is true.
Actually brings up a good point in carnivore. We we have numerous YouTube channels, numerous people that create recipes to imitate what we no longer have. So yeah, it makes us a little bit hypocritical, but for some people, it's what helps them get over and stay true to carnivore. I get that. I do the chaffle thing myself once in a while. I get it. But we don't, how do I put this? It's not something that we need, and it's probably something that we shouldn't be doing too much of, simply because we're not willing to let go of what we used to eat all the time. So I get what she's saying there, you know, and there's some people that are very strong advocates against doing that. I'm not one of those myself. I think if this helps you stay carnivore, then if it helps you get through it, fine. I do it occasionally. I'll have my egg life wraps occasionally to make a burrito, I'll do a chaffle once in a while. I don't do them all the time. So yeah, I do my thing too. I'll make some, instead of chaffles, I'll make pancakes with the same batter, and I've been known to make a bread here or two. But I don't. It's not something that I do all the time, and I'm not doing it because I crave it. I'm doing it just to do something different. That's just part of my variety to shake things up.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that because I personally don't dabble in a lot of these recipes. Not like I used to do when I was on keto, always trying to come up with a keto substitute for standard American food that I missed or used to eat. I haven't done that on carnivore too much. I have had the occasional chaffle, but in 2 years, I may have done it 3 times. It made a bun. Basically, that's what I did is I made a hamburger bun with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool, but I don't know, it just takes a lot of work. And then that chaffle maker's all nasty and you got to clean it up. And so I just don't bother with it. I just eat the burger patty on the plate. But yeah, I haven't tried the carnivore bread yet.
There's different ones. I haven't really found one yet that I really like.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't tried any of this. Do I promote it? I mean, I'm not against it. If you're trying to get off the poison, as we say, or the sad diet, then and convert, it makes things easier. The transition. I'm all for it. Whatever makes, if it makes things easier, and you're willing to try it, by all means. For me, for myself, I don't need it. But if I can convert somebody and hey, you have any recipes for pizza, carnivore pizza, or do you have any recipes for carnivore bread? I'm gonna be right there. I'll be the first one to make it and help people.
Yeah, I like to cook. I love to cook. It's been numerous times in my life I wanted to own a restaurant and almost bought 3 different restaurants at different times. But I love to cook. I love to create, and so for me, it's just a fun thing to do. But I'm not craving it. Do I need it? No. I do it because I want to do it. It's fun, and the longer I'm carnivore, the less I'm doing it. In the beginning, it was playing around, yes, trying to substitute some of the stuff that I missed. And I used to be a big bread eater. But the longer I go, the less effort I'm wanting to put into it, because that's one of the beauties of carnivores. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's pretty simple to do. It's not always, it's simple to do, but it's not always easy. And if it helps you get you over that hump and helps you stay pure, then by all means do it. Does that make us hypocrites? When we make fun of the vegans doing the same thing? Yeah, it does. I'll admit it. So I'm a hypocrite.
So, and then, now that we actually flesh that out with some discussion, that's actually what these plant-based meat substitutes are. It's just tools to try and help them transition to a plant-only diet. So
I get it.
it is the same thing, just going in the opposite direction.
All right, I'll quit picking on them.
Yep. All right. we'll be
I'm going to
nice.
mute my mic.
Okay.
They still ain't real bright, but I'll quit picking on them.
All right. Let's see here. Latro says, I'm experimenting with eating a bit of arugula, low oxalate, high nitric oxide precursors. So, all right. Let us know how that goes. The high nitric oxide will help with that blood pressure, I believe. And of course, low oxalate's good. You know, that's like lettuce, you know, low in oxalate's pretty harmless, unlike spinach, which is high oxalate, you know.
I'd be curious to know why, Letro, that you're experimenting with that. Just out of curiosity, not trying to pin you down on anything. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You know, like I know Kurt. He does natto for medical reasons. So I'm just, you know, for his blood pressure. So I'm just curious why you're trying the arugula. Now me, you know, we were talking blood pressure earlier. So last week, well, you know my background, where when I started carnivore, I was on, you know, heart medications, and I'm no longer on heart medications. And the first one I got off of was a medication that was controlling my blood pressure. And my blood pressure dropped too low because the medication was bringing me too low after the diet had brought me down to normal pressures. And so I had an incident last week, the day that everybody was over, and I cooked all that meat. So I was outside with the smoker in the heat and the smoke and the fire pretty much all day long. And I got to noticing when I came in the house, I was having problems. I was cramping up in my arms and my sides. And I took a shower, and I noticed everything was starting to black out. Everything was starting to close in. And I thought, oh, I got problems. And I sent a text to my wife. She was out with family in the living room, and I sent a text to her. I said, bring me my blood pressure cuff. She brought me my cuff, took my BP, and I was 80/62. Okay, well, now I know why I'm trying to pass out. My blood pressure had dropped. And it turns out what it was I had not drank enough water, and definitely had not taken enough salt throughout the day. And so all this week, you know, with the heat and everything here in Texas, I've been slamming the salt to my water every time I get a cup of water. But yeah, that was kind of freaky.
And so he answered that he has an eye pressure issue, and it seems the nitric oxide works with my drops to lower it.
There you go.
13 normal. Yeah.
I do believe in using plants for medicine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're there for.
And then, you know, I'm a tea drinker, and I've actually been studying up on hibiscus tea. It's supposed to help with blood pressure. So I'm thinking about getting some hibiscus tea because I'm still dealing with hypertension with my kidney issues here. All right, let's go back up to the top here. And then, yeah, so is it just arugula, or are you a ketovore? So, sounds like you're carnivore plus some arugula, and we're okay with that here, by the way. So, you know, we're not the po-po when it comes to carnivore here.
No judgment here.
Yeah.
We might make fun of you, but we won't judge you.
I made them once only as a vehicle for meat. That might go back to the chaffles. I was thinking, you mentioned egg life wraps too, which I really enjoy making the use of. So they're just egg whites, but they do have that flour tortilla consistency. And I like to use those for taco night. I mean, I'll still have like a bologna sandwich or some lunch meat in those too, you know, if I'm looking for something fast. Rodney. Hey, Rodney. Good to see you tonight. You don't see carnivores eating meat that tastes like veggies.
Good point.
That's true. My wife misses the convenience of sandwiches and just made a chaffle ham sandwich today. Yeah, it's convenient. And you know, I guess you know, the thing about bread that was convenient was it was grab and go. And so every time I think of a chaffle, I have to get out the maker, mix up the batter, make my chaffle. I guess what I could do would be make some chaffles in bulk, so I could just grab them and slap
That's
something
what I would
together.
do. I'd make a dozen or so at a time, bag
Yeah.
them up and stick them in the fridge.
So I
Then
always
you
do
can
one
just,
at a time, and I'm just
if
like,
you want,
that was too
if you
much
want
work.
them warm, you can just pop them in the toaster.
Yeah. Tom says, I don't have a waffle maker, so I have to make chan cakes.
Yep.
Yep, as in pancakes, but it's chan cakes. Yep, that works too. So I like the quick and easy meat and eggs. Yeah, so that's pretty much me. It's just like heat and eat. That's what I do. So I just had dinner before I came on. Ground beef,
Well,
some queso cheese melted on top. It's a little bit of seasoning.
and so even for that, I will spend usually 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days a week, where I'll cook up a bunch of meat. I'll cook up 3-4 pounds of hamburger, in different ways. I'll cook up, some steaks. I'll smoke a roast or slow cook a roast. So I always have quick and easy meat on handy. I can just grab. And I learned to do that back when I first started, always keeping something in the fridge that I could grab real quick if I got a craving. And then that's just a habit that's carried over ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa says, I make brown butter bites though, so I get more fat easily. And yeah, I've done that. Actually, I found them pretty addictive. And I'm going to actually make some more because I watched Sean Baker do a video of his quote unquote sugar diet, but it was a better sugar diet. And what he did was instead of eating sugar in the absence of fat and protein, he just ate animal fat and very little protein over the course of 3 days and lost 8 pounds to prove the point that the reason why the sugar diet works is because of the low protein consumption. And you can do the same thing by eating animal fat and low protein as well. So, and that makes sense because a lot of times, we talk about if you're, we recommend starting a carnivore diet, eating a 1-to-1 ratio of fat to protein, which is the equivalent of 70%, 30% fat to protein, calorically speaking. And then we say if that's not working for you, some people do better when they bump up their fat to 80-20. And that would probably be because of this principle where you're lowering your protein consumption. And just like on these diets, that FGS, is it FGF 121, whatever the hormone is, that raises, it makes sense. The lower the protein ratio and the higher the fat ratio, the more success you might have on losing weight. You don't see carnivores eating meat that mimics veggies. Oh, I think we read that already. All right.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. And not brownies. She said brownie butter bites, but she meant brown butter bites. Let's see here. I make a carnivore pizza using a thin layer of ground beef baked. Yes, I use some sauce from a tomato. Yeah, so I will once in a while use some sauce to enhance my meat. Once in a while. I'll tell you what's actually really good. I think is really good, really tasty. Some people are going to say that this isn't pure or carnivore, and that's fine. But down at my local store in the salsa section, they have a jar of Taco Bell's Mexican pizza sauce. And if you look at the ingredients on that, it's actually pretty clean and very low carb. And you only need a little spoon of that can slightly season almost a whole pound of meat. And so that's something that I like to enjoy once in a while.
Yeah, I stay away from the tomatoes. I haven't done, or in my past life, my favorite food was pizza. If I'm on death row, my last meal is going to be a pizza from Caparelli's in San Antonio. That's all there is to it. I'm going out with a whiz bang, but I haven't done any of the carnivore pizzas because I don't do tomatoes, so I'm not going to do tomato sauce. And I know you can use what do they call that? A white sauce. What's it called? I can't think of the name of it. Anyhow, you can use
Carbonara.
a what?
A carbonara.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking of. But anyways, it's a white cheese sauce type deal.
It's Alfredo.
Alfredo. That's
Alfredo.
it. That's it. Thank you. I could do it Alfredo, but I'm sorry, I equate Alfredo with pasta, not with pizza.
Mhm.
And so I just don't want a white sauce on my pizza. So I just do without. I don't need it.
I see you, Scott, trying to connect, but I can't actually add you to the stage until I get a camera and microphone signal from you. So right now you're just a blank box with your name on it, and it doesn't give me a button to add you. So you might need to move around the house and find a spot that gets a better signal, maybe.
You better feed that hamster.
Yeah.
Well, I know
All right.
when
Meathead says hit the thumbs up. And yeah, I
Yeah.
never ask for that, and I should. Please hit the thumbs up and share this video. Yeah, so we can drum up some more excitement here and answer some more questions, get some more people on screen. And remember, if you want to join us on screen, you can go over to Carnivore Talk or Abracadabra. You can click that link that I just posted in the chat and join us on screen and participate in this carnivore discussion. We would love to have you here. We have room for 10. We're usually on till 10. So, anytime you want to come and go as you please, just hop in. All right. What were you going to say there, Geezy?
Well, I was just going to say, you're saying Scott's not showing a video or audio. I know when I connect with the laptop, I actually have to accept video and audio, manually. But when I connect with my phone, like I'm doing tonight, it automatically connects for me.
Oh, that's true. If you're on a laptop, there might be a blocked pop-up that's asking permission to turn on your camera and microphone.
Yeah.
That's true. That could be the case. All right. Rodney says, plants for medicine. Bob, I drink a delicious hawthorn hibiscus tea by Traditionals Medicinal. That's been helping my heart. And near 100 degrees here in Louisiana, I've been drinking it as iced tea too. Yeah, we've been having a heat wave here too in Ohio.
Yeah, and Louisiana's real humid right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was glad to get back to Texas, where it was hot, but it was a drier heat.
Bob, anything above 80 is a heat wave for you.
Most Ohioans, that's the case. So I love it when it's in the 90s, and it's because it heats my pool water. I can't get in my pool if it's less than 80 degrees. I just can't stand it when the cold water touches my knees, then my waist, then my belly, and I can't get in the pool. So when the water is over 80 degrees and I need it hot to get it over 80 degrees, then I'm a happy man. Plus, I hate winter and I hate snow, and I'll complain about that all the time. So when summer comes and we get these heat waves like this, you will never see me complain, because I would take this any day of the year as opposed to anything frigid and snowy.
Yeah, that's why I don't live up north.
Yeah, someday, I keep saying that, but someday I will move south. All right. 14 months carnivore, says Latro. Eliminated dairy except butter, suffer type 2 diabetes, and have cut insulin in half.
Great.
Cut all seed oils. Very good. It takes a while to stabilize. Yes, it does. Hope to get off long-acting insulin completely. I would say keep doing what you're doing, and you probably will reach your goals. Yes.
Everybody I've heard of that's got type 2 diabetes has been able to get off their medication by doing a strict carnivore diet.
Yeah. So yeah, keep up the good work. Yeah. And the arugula ain't gonna harm you in any way either. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine with that. Yeah. And yes, Alfredo was the answer here. So I saw a carnivore that ate toppings off of pizza and tossed the crust. Oh, I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. When the family orders pizza, I'll grab those toppings, eat it, and not eat the crust. So
back in the 90s when I was doing Adkins, and I was successful at Adkins until I wasn't. But we used to go to an all you can eat pizza buffet, and it just drove my wife nuts because I'd just scrape off the toppings and eat it. Of course, back then I would eat vegetables, but it was just driving her nuts, because here I'd have a plate full of crust bread, and she just thought it was such a waste. Yeah, I suppose it was, but I still wasn't going to eat that bread.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that. Or sometimes my wife will order pizza from a place that serves a pizza bowl. So it's a crustless pizza, and it'll be just the tomato sauce, the cheese, and we'll get all the meats.
Hey,
And
I've got a great along that lines. Back when I was doing Atkins, I've got a recipe for a deep dish pizza that has no crust, and you just make it in a in a deep dish. And all it is you just layer in your meats and your tomato sauce, and your cheese, and bake it in the oven. And it's fantastic. It's a pizza casserole basically, and it's fantastic.
I remember when I was doing Atkins and variations of keto, I would have different pizza recipes. So for a while, the big hit was trying to make cauliflower pizza crust out of cauliflower, eggs, and shredded cheese. Yep.
I made my own cauliflower pizza crust. I bought some of the stuff they had in the store. Yeah, I've tried all that stuff.
And that was okay. It's real heavy. You didn't need a lot of pizza to fill you up. And then there was another one with zucchini. There was another one made with chicken breast. Probably my favorite that was most pizza-like was called a Fatheads pizza crust that was made with almond flour, cheese, and eggs. And that was the most realistic I could get. But then I went carnivore, and then I learned about the oxalis and almonds. So it's like, you think you're eating healthy, but you're, when you're doing keto, but you're eating all this almonds, almond flour,
arsenic,
coconut flour, and spinach, and so I had no idea that I was eating all these plant toxins on keto. Because when I was doing keto, it was not a meat-based keto, which I still think is okay. I was doing more of a plant-based keto because that's what I thought I had to do at the time. So
I know that before I started carnivore, I was the human garbage disposal. I was brought up waste not, want not, and there are people starving in Ethiopia. So yeah, pretty much ate everything that was on my plate and everybody else's plate that they didn't want. And
I was the same way.
Like Geoff, my go-to is just flat out pizza, and my second is pasta. I'm looking for the third P so I can be a triple P: pizza, pasta, and potatoes.
There you go.
Pizza, pasta, and potatoes. That was my idea of filling and fun.
I was the same way, where like if we went out to eat and then we all ordered food and I'd finish my plate, then my wife and kids would be like, "We're full," and they'd stop eating halfway through there. I'm like, I paid for that. You better pass that over, pass that over here. I'll eat it. So then I ended up eating basically 4 meals, and no wonder why I was so big at the time.
Yeah, we've all been there, done that.
Rodney says, "Geezy, if you were in my neighborhood, you should have popped in for a steak and Hawthorne iced tea."
Yeah, I would have, but I was at the wrong end of the state. I was up in Shreveport. I know you're down in Red Stick, so yeah, we was different ends of the state.
All right, and Lacho says, "Visiting Ohio soon to see my mom, native of far East Cleveland." Okay, so you'll probably be very close to me. So I actually live in Stow, which is near Akron, and I'm up in Cleveland all the time for work. My suppliers are up there. It takes me, depending on where we're at, typically 40 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes to get up to East Cleveland.
So I'm curious, Bob, where were you up in Michigan?
So I was in a town called Springport, which is close to Jackson. Jackson would be the nearest major city.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're like close to Lansing.
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so from here, from Akron, Ohio to just my place in Springport, it was a 3.5 hour drive. Took us 4 because we made a couple stops along the way for food and to use the rest stops.
Okay.
And it was in the middle of nowhere, so that's what's kind of neat. But I think that's the way Michigan is. If you get away from any major city, it's all just your neighbors are a mile apart from each other.
That's the part that's nice.
Welcome back, Tom. Or you went outside, took us with you. I think that's probably what you mean there. All right. A guy I know said when he saw free breakfast signs at motels, he'd go to get a free breakfast without staying at the hotel.
Oh, gag. Oh, gag. Well, I'll tell you what. So, like yesterday, wife wanted to go down to the breakfast bar there in the hotel we was at. And I said, yeah, I'll go down there. I wasn't hungry, so I wasn't interested in eating. But I looked over the breakfast bar and oh my gosh, the only meat they had was sausage patties and scrambled eggs. I'm pretty sure the scrambled eggs probably powdered eggs, which, I'm not going to poo-poo that too much. They just don't taste as good. But I guarantee them sausage patties was probably loaded with sugars and grains, probably the cheapest stuff they can get. And I said, even if I was hungry, I wouldn't eat none of this stuff. And everything else was just nothing but breads and cereals and carbs. Horrible.
Yeah, I've most hotels I go to, their idea of the continental breakfast is cereal, bagels, donut holes, orange juice. But
now I go down to College Station about once a year, and I always stay at Hilton. They always have a decent breakfast there. They'll have sausage, but they'll have bacon too, and you can get hard boiled eggs. So I can sit there and eat plenty of hard boiled eggs and bacon, and avoid everything else if I'm hungry. But the problem is I don't eat breakfast. I don't get hungry that early in the morning.
Yeah, we're planning a Myrtle Beach trip, so I always look for the breakfast options. Well, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to take that back. We started staying in VRBOs. They're basically like Airbnbs, and so that way we can it'll have like a fridge and a stove, and we can go buy our own groceries. So now I take that back. The last couple of years, we've avoided hotels and got these places where we had a little kitchen and we could buy our own groceries because there was a time I used to go out and you go on vacation and you'd eat all 7 days. You'd eat out for breakfast, eat out for dinner, eat out for breakfast, eat out for dinner. And vacation ended up costing a fortune just in eating out.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go down there and we usually stay for a week, and there'll be one place we'll go for breakfast and maybe 1 or 2 places we'll go for dinner. And then we limit it to that. So then we just try and eat in our room now that we get a nice place.
A good traveling tip, and I've done this before, most of your hotels are going to have a microwave in the room. And if they don't, they're going to have a microwave in their continental breakfast lobby. And so you can cook up a bunch of meat at the house. And when you travel with it, as long as you're not flying, when you travel with it, you can travel with a ice chest, and put steaks, burgers, whatever you want to travel with, whatever you want, put them in those. Your room's probably going to have a fridge that you can put that stuff in. And then you've got microwaves available. You can heat that stuff up. And so you don't have to fear traveling, and staying pure to your diet. There are ways about it if you just plan ahead. Prior performance or prior prevention.
Preventive maintenance?
Poor performance.
No.
Prior planning prevents poor performance. That's what it is.
It's the 6 P's or the 7 P's.
Well,
Too many P's
I was leaving
for me.
out one of the P's, but
all right.
It's actually supposed to be 6 P's. I only did 5.
Peace casserole. That sounds dangerous. Cheese is my weakness. Only lasted
Yeah, it is.
16 days on strict beef, butter, bacon, and eggs.
Yeah, it is dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I did it on Atkins and not on carnivore.
Yeah. Now I
And
still
I
make
failed at
use of
Atkins,
cheese.
so what's that tell you?
Yeah. I still make use of cheese. And I will say that Atkins, you know, it is sustainable if done right. The problem with Atkins is, again, you have this, it feeds your nostalgia because you still have this back of the book full of recipes to make imitation foods that resemble what you used to eat on the standard American diet.
The problem with Atkins.
And you make those imitation foods, and then they're not like the real thing. So then when the real thing comes by, you get tempted and you start to break the diet, and next thing you know, you fell off the wagon.
I was successful for 10 years on Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
And I had dropped down I went from like 230 down to 175, and I maintained 175. I was hitting the gym 3 days a week, lifting weights, and I was putting 5 miles on the elliptical every other day. But I failed because Atkins allows what I was addicted to come into my life. It wasn't cutting out my addiction. It was moderating my addiction. And I managed to moderate that addiction for 10 years, but I couldn't keep it up. For me, it wasn't sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it clean for 10 years. It was a slow progression of slipping off and allowing more and more stuff in until finally it just took over and I gave up and I said, well, I'm done with this, but allowing, in the beginning, you're allowed 20 carbs, in the introduction phase. And then you can start adding carbs in until you find your weight starts going up, and then you back off. So my carbs was around 60 carbs I could have a day. But so I'm starting to allow those 60 carbs in that I like the most, the stuff that tastes the most best to me, the stuff I'm addicted to the most, and then I'm starting to eat the Atkins bars, and the candies and everything. I'm not letting go of that sweet tooth, and the vegetables just kept my carb count up, and it kept me addicted to the carbs. I wasn't letting go. I was barely satisfying my addiction till I finally gave up. And that's what I love about carnivore is it is perfect for a carb addict like me. Because if you're an addict to anything, you cannot moderate. You must abstain. And that's why I've been able to be successful on this diet or this way of eating, simply because I just totally abstain from all that stuff. And it works.
I think if Atkins was around today, he'd probably have a YouTube channel that would be popular among us. And he'd probably be preaching more of a carnivore-centric diet than he did back then. He'd talk
He definitely would.
You can have steak, you can have shrimp, you can have butter. I mean, he was all about that.
Yeah.
But
he wouldn't be approving of what they've done with his name on those products.
No.
Those things are horrible.
Yeah, no. The company that calls itself Atkins today and sells products under the Atkins name actually has nothing to do with Robert Atkins, and even the newer books, they come out with newer books for Atkins, and it's like Robert Atkins wouldn't have even approved of these books.
He wouldn't.
You got to go back to, but anyone who goes back to New Diet Revolution, which is the '90s publication that I read and actually applied it, is most likely going to find success. But again, the tricky part is keeping it to just meat and low carb veg at best, and don't but stay away from those things that we're addicted to and slowly corrode our resolve and lure us back into that standard American diet.
Perfect way of putting it. That's exactly what happened to me. So for those of us that are addicted, like now, my wife, she's got so much self-control. She's not addicted to anything. She can, she could literally eat one scoop of ice cream and not touch it again for a month. It wouldn't bother her a bit. She's got that much resolve. Me, one scoop of ice cream, and I'm gonna try to down that whole half gallon. It's I'm so weak when it comes to that. It's pitiful.
I beg to differ, Geoff. I know one thing your wife's addicted to. One
And
thing.
that is,
You.
and that is,
You.
I appreciate that.
Tell her to take it easy on the geezy.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Lacho says some of the major benefits take 30 days or longer. Keep the faith. Yes. Yeah. That's why we'll recommend usually, minimum 30, preferably 90 days. And even then, some benefits could be 6 months or a year later, because the healing process, if that's what you need to do is heal, it could take a long time to heal because you spend a long time putting yourself into the bad shape you may have been. And it doesn't just go away overnight. You don't just, eat a steak, I'm a carnivore now, and magically heal. It takes time. So yeah, that's good advice there. Give it time and be patient and keep the faith. So years ago, I observed certain individuals that had Crohn's, etc., and their favorite food was pizza. Well, that's an interesting observation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I had Crohn's.
I have family members who have Crohn's. They like pizza. I used to have ulcerative colitis. It's cured. That's still one of my biggest accomplishments in this lifestyle. Curing an incurable autoimmune disease. I love saying that. I love telling other people about that. But yeah, I used to down pizzas like there were, in fact, with me and pizza, that's another thing. There was no leftovers. Pizza was so addictive, so tasty that most people eat like 3 slices. Bring me a 14-inch pie, there will be no slices left. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I keep eating.
Same.
I could be feeling miserable, and I will still somehow stuff those last 2 slices down my face.
And look what they did to hook us even farther on that. We talk all the time about how, RJ Reynolds and all the food companies, they made our food more addicting. What did the pizza companies do? They put cheese in the crust.
Oh yeah.
The stuffed crust, and that just makes it because most people don't eat the crust. They'll eat the bottom crust, but when they get to that end, that ring, the heel of it, they toss that away. And so they put that in there so everybody eats even more of it. Now me, I hate to say it, but I used to melt a bowl of butter and mix garlic up in it and dip those crusts in that garlic butter, and eat those because I wouldn't let it go to waste.
Yeah. We have a place around here called Papa John's that actually serves it with a butter container for that purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. We have them here too.
I used to order, this is the truth, this is gospel. You speak at Papa John's. My thing was 2 large every night. I would say 4 or 5 nights a week. When I got lazy, I would eat a large and a half in one sitting, and that was a supreme with onions, black olives, pepperoni, ham. I would have like 6 to 7 toppings on there besides extra sauce, and I would eat a pizza and a half a night. So you can imagine doing that for 2 years. How bad I got.
Yeah. So no anchovies?
Nope.
I got to have anchovies on mine. In fact, I judge a pizza parlor by whether they even have anchovies. If they ain't got anchovies, I don't want their pizza.
I've had good anchovies and I've had terrible anchovies. So
now let me ask you all a question. So here we are talking about our past food that we love, that we crave, that we ate all the time. Right now, does talking about this give you any desire to want any of that back again?
No.
Is it giving you a pain of regret that you gave it up?
I
And
have people that pass by my workstation every night that order Papa John's, that order wings, all that. They walk right by my workstation with this hot food from DoorDash, from
Mhm.
whatever delivery. They walk right past me and I can smell it. And then like, that's disgusting.
It is. It is. It's disgusting. I was at one of my grandkids' little league games, and somebody, and I don't know if y'all eat this up there where y'all are at, but somebody behind me went to the concession stand and got a Frito pie. And I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. I love a good Frito pie. I mean, that's a Texas staple down here. And they got a Frito pie, and I kid you not, as much as I loved one in the past, the smell of that was absolutely disgusting to me. It smelled horrible. And I'm like, this is really wild. It is so, I am so clean now that that is a foul odor to me now. And to me, that tells me I'm 100% adapted.
mhm.
I am pure carnivore now. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm immune. You could sit here right next to me and eat pizza, cakes, cookies,
Mhm.
pies, and I don't even care. It doesn't
Yeah.
phase me one
Yep.
bit. I don't even see it as food.
Nope.
Yep.
So
It's not.
in fact, I'll be sitting here secretly judging you.
Yeah.
Yep. Silently. Yep.
Silently
I get
judging
it.
you. Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
So I
Yeah.
used to work.
Well, we'll have a lot of cookouts here, and when we do, we don't force anybody to eat like we do. So we'll get beans and potato salad and stuff like that, and chips and dip and whatnot. And absolutely none of it appeals to me, none whatsoever. Even if we get ice cream for the kids, I just don't want it.
So I used to work for Papa John's right after high school as a delivery driver,
Oh,
and
cool.
we would have to prepare the dough. The dough came already in little balls that had to get to room temperature, and they would rise. But we had to make our own sauce, which was Papa John's secret recipe. Okay, so we would take a 5-gallon bucket and empty 5 large jars of sauce into the bucket. Then there was a seasoning packet. It's their trademark seasoning packet. We'd cut that open and dump that in there. And then we'd take a large bag of sugar, slit the bottom of that, and let all the sugar pour into that 5-gallon bucket. And then we'd take a mixing drill like I use for setting tile, and
Hmm.
we would blend that all together. And that was the sauce. So it was loaded with sugar in that sauce, which is
Right.
Well, that
pretty
tells me
disgusting.
why, even as a junk eater, it tells me why I didn't like their sauce. It was all that sugar. I
Yeah.
And
tried Papa
that
John's one time when they first came here to Weatherford. I tried them out, and I didn't care for their sauce at all.
and that's why every
They're the
time
McDonald's of the
I
pizza
ordered
industry.
mine with extra sauce.
Mhm. Papa Carnivore's here. All right, welcome. Good to have you here. Hey, Peter. The gluten really screws up the gut. Refer to Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis. All right. Good to have Papa Carnivore with us. Papa Carnivore is everywhere. He's such a good support for all these carnivore channels. All right. Grammy G says, I was AFK. Husband needed assistance. Anybody would know what that acronym is for? Back now, I am from Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Oh, he was away from. I'm assuming that means like away from the computer or something.
Yeah,
She had
AFK.
she had to go. She had to go tend to her husband, and now she's back. Okay, you're from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Okay, yeah, I was up in not that high. I was over in Springport, Michigan, over the weekend at some relative's house. All right, let's see here. Papa Carnivore just got home from work. So tired, but I'm a carnivore, so I'm gonna rally by eating lots of meat. That's right. Refuel.
Eats
Sandra's
fat.
from Panama City Beach, Florida. Welcome. Welcome, Sandra. I bet your weather down there is absolutely beautiful. Grandma G, I received my blood work back. EGFR down to 11.9 and cystatin C measured 3.54. Did they calculate an EGFR using that cystatin C? So I'm getting more strict for the next 30 to 60 days to see where I am, praying it all comes together.
Give it time.
Yeah. I'm assuming that EGFR down to 11.9 is calculated. I'm assuming that's calculated with creatinine and then the cystatin, unless that's the reading with the cystatin C. I'm going to open up my, let's see here, blood labs history. I'll look where mine is here. And we got Rick joining us here. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Loud
we
and
can.
clear.
Excellent. Just got back from work, ate, took a bath, and now I'm here.
All right. Squeaky clean.
Yep.
Thought I
I had to
smelled you.
deliver all the circuit boards I fixed.
Okay. All right. So, Grammy G, when my cystatin C was 2.56, that calculated a EGFR of 23. And then in my worst back in November, it got up to 3.3. That calculated an EGFR of 17. And I was getting scared too. That's when I got off that phenofibrate. And then my last blood test was in March, and I'm going to take another one in July. But in March, my cystatin C had dropped to 2.52, which gave me an EGFR of 24, which is the best I had ever seen. Now, conversely, my creatinine in November was 8.08, which gave me an EGFR of 8. And then in March, it was 5.22, which raised my EGFR to 13. So that was moving in the right direction. So I'm showing improvements, and but the reason I'm showing improvements is because I was taking that drug that was giving me some major harm. And so I was just curious if the 11.9 was calculated with the creatinine or the cystatin C. It sounds well, it sounds close. So mine was 3.3 and came in at 17. Yours is 3.54. I guess that could be the cystatin C, but it sounds more like the creatinine. Anyway, let us know. All right. So Rick, tell us about your day. How you been this last week?
Not too bad. I mean, the weekend wasn't too busy. Saturday's my day off. I worked a little bit yesterday. Today, I spent most of the day in my shop fixing circuit boards and, various electronic devices. And then I watched Dr. Kilt stream, the, what do you call it? The Zoom. And then after that was over, I ran out there and delivered the parts I fixed and got paid for that. Came back here, ate dinner, took a shower, and now I'm here.
All right. Very good. Yes.
Obviously, there was a little drama with another channel, as you probably know, that started last Thursday.
that is something I wanted to talk to you about. If you want to talk about it on air, I'm completely cool with that if you are. So I saw just some posts. You were making posts in your community section. Something is going on with Homestead How? Is that what I'm getting?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And
I got banned from the Homestead How channel.
How'd you pull that off?
That's what I'd like to know.
Okay.
I can't figure it out. But evidently, I don't think Kerry did it himself. I don't think he's that kind of person. But you know how it is when you have a really large YouTube group, they probably have people doing the work for them. And somebody was pretending to be Homestead How, but it was a joke because instead of an O, they used a 0 for Homestead How. So they put 2 zeros in there. Then they use the same picture that Kerry uses for Homestead How. And then whoever it was making jokes about the Monticello Theater when we all know that Kerry's theater is a Montello theater. And I think they were saying, support my documentary that'll come out in 2030. And it's just like a joke. Somebody was trying to make fun of it. So I guess the excuse he used in the email that, in fact, he never sent me a message. This is the funny thing, until my community got mad. And I guess we're bombarding him with mean comments like this pit bull over here. And I suppose that after enough of those mean comments, he probably thought, I got to do something to stop this. So then he sent me an email, which I posted on my community page. And that's the only email I've gotten from him since then. He wants to come on my channel in a couple of weeks. So we'll see. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But one way or the other, I don't care. If he doesn't want me on his channel, there's so many other good channels and groups like this. I don't really care. But I just want to see what kind of person he is, what kind of answer I'm going to get. And, you know, who knows? It may get more people to my channel. That's always a possibility.
Maybe. Okay, so that's interesting. So someone pretending to be him was just basically goofing off on your channel.
Yes, and other channels. They went
channels.
to Russ's channel, Homesick Buckeye, and I think they also went, either it was on Thomas's channel, I think Booby Goats on Aaron's channel. The fake Carrie went on there. So it was several channels.
That doesn't sound very joking to me.
I was getting a big laugh out of it.
Yeah.
So then
sounds
some
more
other
like
individuals then went to Carrie's channel and caused a bit of a ruckus there.
Yeah, that's
Because
probably what happened.
to me, it sounds like somebody trolling to do exactly that.
Exactly.
Well,
To cause problems.
they were being facetious in pretty much everything they said. I was there when they came into Rick's live, and basically anything they said, everything was in jest. It wasn't nothing. It was nothing serious. It wasn't like, okay, well, I'll take donations. Here's my address or my bank account number. None of that stuff. No janky stuff happened like that. Everything was joke. It's said in jest. And then this whole whatever, this farce. I don't know about going to other channels, but Rick can attest to what happened there. The only thing I can say is when they were on Rick's channel, it was joking. Everything was joking. Nothing was taken serious. And then this blows up. Allegedly, you know, people have tried to contact Rick, but Rick just said right there, nobody tried to contact him until people like myself got into Carrie's face and said, what is going on? And then when you make up lies or you try to cover your tracks, your backside, because you messed up, because he went on Mitch's channel, and I have a screenshot on my profile. He went on and worded that super chat the way he worded it. It's like Rick is guilty because he associated with this person and he was instigating. No, none of that happened.
Exactly. And my subscribers, they know what happened.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Well, I didn't make it on to your program Saturday because I was in Michigan installing a tile floor. So I was preoccupied. Hope you had a good time on Saturday, though.
It was actually pretty good. And I had a record number of people on there. It was over 60 at one time.
Yep.
It was pretty amazing. A lot of great comments, and nobody on my channel was making excuses for Carrie. Everyone seemed to be supporting my side of this issue. So it was a great live.
All right. All right. Well, before we go on with some comments, since it's so we're 1 hour in, I just wanted to say welcome Rick to the screen. And remember, we have room for 10. And so if you would like to join us on screen and be part of this carnivore conversation and tell us your story or your progress, or if you want to ask us a question about the carnivore diet face-to-face, all you have to do is click that link that I just put in the chat. And then if you just, all you need is a webcam and a microphone and a little bit of courage. And this is actually we're a friendly atmosphere here. If you're a smaller YouTuber, this is a good way to kind of get some experience on the camera too. So come on and join us. We'd love to have you here. Rodney says, when we go to a free breakfast motel, we find a restaurant nearby, even though we have to pay for it. 90% junk carbs. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Very few have I been to that actually had decent, scrambled eggs, breakfast meats. Most of them are those continental breakfasts, and they're donut holes and Wheaties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Bob, go get your meat from White Feather Meats. You know, you're not the first person to say that. I looked that up. I have a friend, John.
I said that to you months ago.
Yeah, and John from Florida, who sometimes joins us on these here, he wants to come up and visit, and when he does, he wants to go there because he watches the Bearded Butchers on YouTube.
Yep.
And I just looked it up here, and it says that it's in Creston, Ohio, and that's about 45 minutes to my west. Actually, I used to do work for a guy whose office was out of Creston, so yeah, I should go check it out.
So you're talking bearded butchers?
The
Yeah.
Bearded Butchers, yep.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, they're right here in down the street from me.
When I was younger, I would have loved to learn how to cut meat from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you get your meat from White Feather Meats? No, I get so I get my meat from two sources. One is Sam's Club, and the other one over here in Mogador, there's a place called Duma's Meats or Duma Meats. And that's like it's a local rancher, and it's like a network of ranchers, and you can get everything like bison, elk, venison, beef hot dogs, beef bacon, beef of all sorts. And they make their own jerky, and it's a carnivore's paradise in there. And it's just almost all meat exclusively. And so that's the big hit around here is Duma's, and that's only like 20 minutes down the street.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Duma's is
something
fantastic.
you mentioned beef bacon. That's something I'm going to do on my next cows I butcher. I'm going to see if my processor will make some beef bacon. I keep hearing about it, and I've never had it, and so I want to try it.
Yeah, I've had it a couple times, and yeah, it's pretty good. And these prices here are good. Like I'll share this screen. Let's see here, share screen, and oh, not arugula. There we go. Duma Meats. So yeah, this is Duma Meats website right away. They have a
Wow.
presentation.
That's sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meat market, bundles, sides of beef. So that's what it looks like from there. But yeah, they got get over here on sides of beef, and $4.79 a pound. Look at that. You can get a half a cow, $4.79 a pound. Tells you what you get right there. T-bones, quarter ounces. Yeah. And from what I've heard talking to other people on the internet and in these carnivore groups, that these prices are actually pretty darn good.
Oh, they're actually.
No.
Yep. Grass fed,
So
$4.99 a pound.
You don't need to do a cut sheet.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, typically when you're gonna buy half a cow or a quarter of a cow, you fill out a sheet of what you would want. If you're buying the front half or the back half, that you would tell them, well, I want so much in ground beef, and I'd like to get, so much in steaks if I could, and they try to accommodate.
Generally, if you're buying a half, you're getting a half of a side. So
Right.
they're split down the middle.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't bought them that way. I would assume that if they don't already have them cut up, then you can request certain cuts and certain thicknesses on your steaks. And I'm just assuming on that. I know when I have one processed, I can request everything. And so
Right.
like with mine, my steaks are going to be 1.5 inches thick.
Yep.
Any fat that is not, my burger is going to be a 70-30 mix. Any fat that is left over that is not put in the burger, whether it's suet, whether it's trimmings, I get that fat back because I'm going to make tallow out of it. And
Exactly.
I even get the bones back. I get the bones back. Because I want bone broth, I want bone marrow, and whatever's left over goes to my dogs.
There
And they
you go.
certainly appreciate that. So That's what I love about raising my own is I can get everything custom done. They'll do
Now
it
I got a
exactly how I
question.
want it.
I got a question for you because what about the tongue?
I don't do tongue. I don't down here it's lingua. I don't care for
Right.
that. And it's a texture
Oh,
thing for me. I just
oh
don't.
no. Oh my gosh. Geoff. I went I went to Korean barbecue and I ordered lingua last night and I have to say there's nothing it's like chipped beef. There's no texture whatsoever. If it's sliced thin, you put beef belly down to give it a nice oily coating. Then you put the tongue on top and let that barbecue on that Korean barbecue. Oh my gosh, there's nothing. It's full of beef flavor.
It's one of those things that somebody's going to have to cook it for me right because I just don't know how to do it. And the only time I've had it, it was from some Mexicans down here. I tried it,
Uh-huh.
some lingua tacos, and I ate it just because I ordered it, but I did not care for the texture.
I cook it
Gotcha.
in a pot.
And there's a lot of things now, and I won't turn down getting the tongue. Uh, Everything that I'm not willing to eat on a cow or any animal will go to my dogs
Mm-hmm.
because I feed my dogs carnivore. And
Oh,
we don't hardly waste nothing at all. And it's just like when I take a deer, you know, when I'm through deboning that deer, they get the whole carcass, and they absolutely love it.
I've had
nice.
lengua and a taco last year when we went to Florida, and I thought it was pretty good. So,
Yeah,
so
I'm
yeah,
just
going
not a
back to
fan
this here.
of the texture of what I had.
Come on,
Yeah,
Milton.
yeah. This says that the average thickness is a 1 inch for the steaks. So you get 6 to 8 T-bone, 6 to 8 porterhouses, 6 to 8 sirloins.
Yeah, Milton.
Yeah,
Milton.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
already pre-cutting it.
Beef
They're giving
extra
you what an
tender,
average
untrimmed.
is. They're saying an average of a side is going to be X amount of pounds. So they're giving you X amount of pounds of meat with the approximate, amount of this, how many steaks you would get out of this, and how much
Any,
hamburger you'd get out of this.
yeah.
So it doesn't sound like you can custom order it.
And it says anything you don't use goes into the hamburger. So that would be probably your organs that way.
Sure.
The only burger I eat is brisket now. Ground up brisket. That's the only way I eat.
All right. One caution eating out. Watch the cheese. It might be a seed oil product like Velveeta. Ask the cooks.
True.
That is true.
Velveeta's not cheese.
Nope.
It's not.
Cheese. Neither is
It's
American cheese.
cheese
at your
food
fast
product.
food restaurant. Yeah. It's a cheese type thing. Cheese-like
Cheese
thing.
product.
Yeah, they call it cheese product.
Yeah. This is my story. It says when traveling going forward, I plan on doing an extended fast. There you go.
That works too.
Engine cooking.
Yep. Yeah.
Bad
All right.
kitty.
Or just eat it cold. Target Prime Rib has no
There you go.
problem with cold bacon and cold burger patties.
Sure
That's
that.
it.
All right.
Milton, what are you doing?
Okay. It's the 7 P's, according to Michael. We have proper previous planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah, well,
All right.
teach their own.
Yeah, catching up here. We're about 30 minutes behind on the chat. Brenda from Facebook. What are y'all's opinions on an air fryer? I use them.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No,
My
I don't
wife
have one
uses
because
one.
I've already got too many kitchen gadgets and my house is too small. Maybe in my next house I'll buy one if I've got a big enough kitchen. But that's the only reason. If I had one, I'd use it.
I use them. Not often. Like I know people who they've got this method of taking a steak from frozen to medium rare by putting it frozen in the air fryer
Or on
putting
the
it on
engine.
for I can't remember the time, 8 minutes, 14 minutes, something like that. I tried that, hated it. I didn't like it. But I had made, like, I've put beef into balls, and sometimes I'll put a cube of cheese in the middle and then put the beef around it, so it's got cheese in the center. I've put that in the air fryer and made it till it was crisp, and then you bite into that and it's got a cheesy center. And so I've made a carnivore meal using that before. Yeah, so I think it's a useful product. I'm still more of a cast iron pan or fire up the grill kind of guy for the most part.
I will grill if it rain or shine. It's air fryer. You can. I mean, that's just the gadget I don't use. I tried the steak, and from frozen to whatever, and I didn't care for it. I didn't like the texture. It's got to be off the grill.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm a wood fire or put it on my smoker kind of guy.
Yeah. Or on the engine.
Yeah, or on the engine.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Brenda from Facebook, for hopping on and participating. I'm going to skip to your next question here, and maybe Geoff would be able to answer this one. Are there any keto or carnivore conventions in Texas?
Okay. I don't know of any keto conventions. We had one down in Austin not too long ago. There was a carnivore convention. I don't know of any coming up anytime soon. I know over on Kiltz's Tribe, Aaliyah has asked, where would we like to have the next one at? And I suggested Fort Worth, Texas, because that would put it closer to me. But right now, I don't know of anything going on in Texas.
So in May of 2026, there's the low carb cruise. Every year there's a low carb cruise. So low carb cruise 2026 is going to be at the Royal Caribbean International Cruise Terminal in Galveston, Texas. And you can go to lowcarbcruise.com to get more information on that. So usually, obviously there's a bunch of keto carnivores that are going to be on that cruise, and usually some noteworthy guest speakers and stuff like that as well.
You say it's going to be 2026?
That's May of 2026. Yeah.
By golly, I might just look that up.
Yeah. So that would be lowcarbcruise.com. I'll eventually have it in the calendar over on Carnivore Talk. Let's see here. Going back here, Carnivore Muscle. Hey. Glad you could join us.
Mm-hmm.
Papa Carnivore says, I did Atkins in 2002 and lost a lot of weight. Started going to the gym, but it allowed veggies and I didn't eat enough fat. Got hemorrhoid surgery. It was terrible. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's, you know what? That is another problem with it too, is because a lot of us go into that. And even though he said, enjoy all the butter you want, most of us still had that branded in our brains about being low fat, and even a lot of people who try and do carnivore, they think they need to eat lean meat, and then they don't
when I did Atkins, my wife was concerned about it because we were all brainwashed. And so when I started Atkins, I did a lean protein Atkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Atkins got the weight down, but it didn't heal like carnivore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I know a lot of people who like low carb works, keto works, animal-based works. Hell, vegetarian diet and the sugar diet works,
Yes,
so but you can lose weight on just about any diet. But that healing aspect of it is a good point to bring up. Is there's a lot of individuals who are keto and even doing keto right, just half their plate fatty meat, half their plate low carb veg, and they're losing weight, but something's just not quite what they wanted to see or hope to experience or heal, and then they finally get rid of those last few veggies, and then everything changes. So Some people don't have to take that leap. Other people, that's what's holding them back. And once they make that leap and go strict carnivore, that's when they experience some healing. So there's a lot of truth to that. Depending on you and your personal physiology and what you may have that's wrong with you that needs healing. So, Jonathan here, I may fall asleep. Apologies. No, can't have that.
Middle of the night for him.
Where's he from?
UK.
England.
UK. Oh, yeah. All right. So this is 9:25 here. What's that? 5 hours ahead?
Probably about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 1 o'clock to 1:30, 2:30, something like that. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. In that case, I don't blame you. Go ahead and doze off. All right. Hit the like button first and leave this on.
There you go.
I had a hemorrhoidectomy surgery, and it was the worst pain I ever had in my life. I stopped Atkins, went back to the SAD diet, and weight ballooned, became diabetic, high blood pressure, fatty liver.
I got something to say about that.
Go for it.
I knew Papa Carnivore was always a pain in the butt. No. No, I'm kidding. All kidding aside. When I was 18, let's see, 88, 21. When I was 21, I had my first job outside of the Navy. And because I went to the bathroom and I found blood on the toilet paper and it freaked me out. So I went to the doctor. I had hemorrhoids at the age of 21.
As young.
Yeah. And of course my boss, he laughed. I didn't care. But it scared me because I'm young and I didn't know what to expect. But I had hemorrhoids from the age of 21 up until I started carnivore.
Only thing I know.
Go ahead.
The only thing I know about hemorrhoids is the commercial for Preparation H.
Never used it.
That's all I remember. I've never had them.
Yeah, not fun.
Doesn't sound like it.
Rodney says, speaking of cheese, I saw Carrie Mann say on a recent video that if a carnivore is not feeling as good as they think they should or getting the results they want or weight loss is stalling, is usually dairy.
That's what we recommend.
Yeah,
Cutting
it
it
could
out.
be. Mm-hmm.
Every time somebody's stalling, they're having problems, or not feeling good, that's our first recommendation is cut out the dairy. Well, except for the butter, because generally butter is just straight fat anyways. But yeah, that's the first thing you go to is the dairy.
And there's good science behind that. So, milk by design is designed to fatten a young calf. And it is also a high fat product. So it's very energy dense. And so if you just don't need it, then yeah, you're just going to cause yourself a stall.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about dairy, it's not, are you talking about all dairy or just milk? Because I haven't drank milk since I was 20. But when I tried to do away with dairy, I wasn't doing as good as I normally did.
And I was the same way. I tried to get rid of cheese. I went off the cheese, and most people say, we were talking about like stool. Okay, so like if you feel constipated, eat more fat, and if you have more like diarrhea, and you want that to firm up, then eat less fat. So when I cut out cheese, actually, I had chronic diarrhea, and then when I brought cheese back in, it fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
So which according to that thinking, I should have had the opposite effect. So for me, cheese is kind of like a natural constipator, and I do all right, but again, I don't go overboard with it. I treat it like a condiment, and I used to go overboard with it though. I was making these cheesy foldovers for a while, and as Geoff calls them eggless omelets, but we were do 5-6 slices of provolone cheese. We'd put our toppings in the middle, and you'd let that burn to a brown, and you'd fold it in half, And I'm like, oh, this is delicious carnivore meal. You can make Philly steaks with it. You can make little pizzas with it, and it's all animal products. It turns out cheese is high in phosphorus, and I have stage 4 chronic kidney disease. So my phosphorus went through the roof, and my legs started itching so much that I scratched almost all the hair off my calves. And then found out that it was from the high phosphorus. So then I had to cut out any dark colored sodas, even the diet ones, because they're made with phosphoric acid. And I had to cut out the cheese for like 45 days until my phosphorus numbers dropped. So I personally have to be careful when it comes to cheese consumption because I have to watch my phosphorus intake.
For me, cheese is addictive. I still love it. I still eat it. I don't drink milk. I will only use cream if I'm making, some carnivore ice cream. It's just going to be pure cream. But I do love cheese. And so I have to be careful with it. Now I'll go through stages where I start consuming too much of it and I'll have to back off for about 30 days, and then I can allow a little bit back in and I'm good for a couple of months, until it starts kicking in again. And right now, this week, I'm struggling to keep my weight up. I'm dropping too much. So I ate cheese today and I'll probably eat cheese again tomorrow, and I'll have cheese every day until my weight comes back up to where I think it ought to be.
What you got there, dinner?
You mean Milton the monster?
All right. Hey, Milton.
Milton looks totally unimpressed with us.
Well,
I like he's so cool. You could just toss him around like that and he doesn't care.
Nah, he's a good cat. All my cats are like this.
Nice. All right.
I think I'm good at having pets. Yeah.
I got 4 brand new barn cats out in the barn and they are wild.
Yeah, this guy was a wild. I mean, he was a feral cat that was in the street, but after a few weeks living with me, he turned into a pet.
Papa Carnivore says cheese caused his weight stall and hard cheese gave him horrific constipation. So I guess maybe if I overconsumed it, the same thing would happen to me. So, but it's well documented that cheese can be a problem for people.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Enjoying the chat. Thank you. Yes, we are. And I tell you what, we just had for a brief moment 44 watching according to StreamYard here, and that is probably a record for us. So if you're hitting that like button, it must be doing something magical. So please hit that like button because I just looked up at the corner and I was impressed to see that. Very nice.
I attached my channel to it as well, so that might have helped.
Oh, are you streaming? You co-streaming?
Yeah. I went ahead and attached it. That might have caused it to jump up.
All right. Yeah, maybe.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for restreaming.
I don't have a lot of viewers, but I got the best. My subscribers and viewers are the best you'll find in the whole carnivore community.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. No, it's always a good time over on your channel, and in your Saturday chats for sure.
Hey, especially now with the new controversy, it'll just bring more people.
Yeah.
There you go.
The views. We're in it for the views.
It'll be like a talk show. Jerry.
Now he eats some soft brie cheese occasionally, not much, and only as a treat, sometimes with fresh berries. All right, very good. All right.
Wow, okay. I don't think I sound like Wolfman Jack. I'm sorry to interrupt, but when I rewatch the replay, my voice sounds a little bit piney. And I sound like a Wolfman Jack in a mouse voice.
Nah, you're deeper in the mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But that's all right. I don't hear an accent until I watch the playback.
Carnivore Muscle says, I like Gruyere.
Yeah.
And Parmesan. I had 12 different cheeses at the party.
Yeah, he knows dairy. He's like me, eats dairy.
Mhm. Papa says, I had terrible IBS for decades. Since 3 weeks into carnivore, my stomach gut issues are completely gone. Here, here. You know, I agree because I had the ulcerative colitis. The ulcerative colitis is gone. And, you know, when I was up in Michigan over at my relatives, my wife's relatives, we were sitting at the table and the one aunt was saying that she's got diverticulitis. And, I said, oh, you probably want to, I made the comment that you should probably go low fiber. And she said, no, the doctor said I need to eat lots of fiber.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, you know, like
That's what's
here I
causing
am,
your
you know,
diverticulitis.
she ain't going to listen to me. And I know that fiber can be an irritant, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they think that fiber is going to help move stool along. But also that fiber is just going to mean that you're going to continuously have stuff in that colon at all times, and it's never going to be empty and have a break, you know.
Well,
Just have a watch Cat Carnivore.
Yeah.
What it does, yeah, good point. What it does is the fiber expands the colon.
Mm-hmm.
By expanding the colon, when it retracts, it creates the pockets that are diverticulitis. You know, and then you get food trapped in that and it causes diverticulosis. Or do I have that backwards? I always get those two confused. I have that, you know, and fortunately mine has never flared, but it's all due to the expansion of the colon due to the fiber. So it is the fiber that is causing it. So you don't want to exasperate the condition by adding more fiber to it. That's just absurd.
Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
like
tried.
a diabetic, you know, drinking Cokes. You know, it's the same. Why would a diabetic drink a Coke? But
Mhm.
it's the same type deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I tried to bring up the, you know, ulcerative colitis thing, and I was cured, and tried to hint towards like, you know, maybe I know what I'm talking about, you know, but
Yeah.
so, all right. Speaking of Atkins, says Rodney, back in the early days, there was a few other books out there that promoted a very low carb diet when hypoglycemia was found so prevalent. Well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't a low carb diet. Hypoglycemia would be low blood sugar. Was that prevalent? Or hyperglycemia? That's high blood sugar. I'm not sure there, but I was thinking of other books like Atkins. There was The Zone and Protein Power and the South Beach Diet.
Diet.
Yeah. Yeah, those were basically all the same thing, just given another name.
I should have made a book called The Heart Attack Diet.
There you go.
Should have.
You still should. You still should.
Might as well.
Papa says, when I eat hard cheese, I become a bricklayer in the bathroom. A bricklayer.
I've never had
okay. Low
constipation
carb
in my
diet.
life.
He corrected himself. Low carb diet. I just had to go further down here.
I've never had constipation in my life.
Papa John's had good cheese when they came out with the peppercini. Oh yeah, that's what we always put the garlic butter in the box and the 2 pepperoncinis. Yeah.
I always hated pizza.
Yeah. The Atkins diet never said to eat lots of fatty meat, high fat. So I wasn't eating high fat and got terrible constipation, which led to straining, hemorrhoids, and surgery. Yeah, that's. I remember him saying that you didn't have to fear. You could have, you know, lobster with butter, shrimp, butter in your shrimp, you know, and I remember him saying that it was okay, but he never emphasized the need to eat fat, you know, like we talk about today. Congratulations on curing that, Bob. You should brag. Yes, that is one of my brags for sure. That's my, of all the things I wanted to cure, that's one of the major ones. Now, if my chronic kidney disease would get better, I'd be over the moon with happiness there. But ulcerative colitis I'm so glad that's gone. All right. I have coworkers and they bring in food with the sole purpose to get me to cave. Isn't that just wrong? I hate when you're trying to better yourself and those around you are trying to sabotage your efforts. And that happens. It happens all the time. You know, you want to improve your life. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be in diet, you know, diet, exercise, you know, maybe you want to, you know, study something for their career, become more spiritual or whatever, there's always someone there that's trying to undermine your efforts to better yourself. Super frustrating. So,
well, that's due to fear and jealousy.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the same way when I started this. I'll go back to that one. When I started this, I was eating only meat, losing weight, and like my wife would come home with ice cream, candy, all kinds of treats, baked goods. Crumble Cookie is a place around here that's really popular, and she would take bites of this stuff in front of me and be like, look at me, I can eat anything I want. And I'm like, so can I. The difference is I don't want that crap.
Exactly.
So that was it at first. But then when my blood work started showing improvements, and my kidney doctor was on board with what I'm doing, and she realized that I had lost a bunch of weight, and she realized it was benefiting me. Now I get support, and she won't let me cheat. She's like, oh, we're gonna have this, but you can't. Because you need to keep your health up. So she's an advocate, and she's on my side now. But at the beginning, she was on the other shoulder wearing red.
my wife was the same exact way. She, in the beginning, it didn't bother her to sit in front of me and eat whatever she wanted to, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have this. And I'm like, yeah, I can have anything I want, but it's a matter of, do I want it? And then after being on this diet for like 8 months, she has seen the improvements with my mental health, with just our relationship, and overall, just the positive outlook that comes out of me. She supports me, and she won't let me stray.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Good. When somebody starts eating that food around me, you know what I do, don't you?
What do you do?
I make a certain sound effect.
You quack?
Yeah.
You quack.
Okay. Quack, quack.
How's that duck food? Quack, quack.
Yeah. They say, why are you making quacking noises? I said, well, you're eating duck food. I'm going to make quacking noises. And after a while, they just say, oh, I don't want to eat around him. Because sit there and go, quack, quack. And sometimes they go, which is a noise a Muscovy duck makes. And, oh, would you like some? I said, yeah, I'll give it to the ducks when I go to the canal. And they don't bother me anymore.
I saw your video the other day of how to make carnivore mango chicken. That was cute.
I loved it.
Oh, it's easy. All you need is some chicken, some beef tallow, and you eat that, and then you give the mango to the chickens.
Yep. Carnivore mango chicken. Let the chicken eat the mango, then cook the chicken.
Right.
Papa Carnivore says, everyone is different. You got to do your own N1 experiment on yourself to see what works best for you, right? Yes, true. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That is true. All right. Sandra's coworkers took 4 years to quit asking if she would like some of what they're eating. All right. It's good that they finally caught on. 4 years, they're slow learners. People thought I was weird before carnivore. Now I'm a super weirdo. All right. Join the club. Be proud. Be a proud carnivore.
Now you ain't weird. You're normal now.
Mm-hmm.
You're what you should have always been.
Right. Actually, that's a good point, because when you walk up and down the aisles, or you see what other people are eating, and it's like, so we went out to breakfast on Sunday. They treated us right, because I installed the tile floor. They took it out for breakfast, and there was a restaurant there downtown, Parma, Michigan, and it was called Gigi's. It was really good, but they had a menu item on the breakfast menu called the Carnivore, and it was 4 scrambled eggs and 2 choices of breakfast meat. So I got bacon, and I got sausage patties, And then I added 2 extra over easy eggs to mix in with my scrambled eggs. And then her grandma wanted sausage links. So when they showed up with sausage patties, she gave me one of her sausage patties. So anyway, I ate really good. I got to eat on plan. I didn't deviate that whole weekend, but it's kind of interesting because, like, my wife's got French toast, grandma's got potatoes, someone else has pancakes, the other person has biscuits and gravy, and they get their coffees, and they're dumping sugar in their coffees, and I'm just like, but I used to do all that too. I used to do all that too, and now I look at it like that, to me, is not normal. It used to be my normal, but now I look at it and I'm like, that's not normal, and
Pancakes and corn syrup.
yeah. I mentioned, I say this all the time. Like, I don't even see some of that. It doesn't even register in my head as food anymore,
Nope.
Yeah.
And you were so used to walking into the restaurant, hunched over, in pain, and loosening your belt after you got done eating.
Right. Oh, I used to have to do that. Take the belt down a notch. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Why would you do that?
Because I ate so much junk food, I had to loosen the belt a notch.
I eat
If
a bunch of
if
meat.
anything, because I was building up pressure inside.
But I eat a bunch of meat and I never loosen the belt.
Well, again, Rick, that we ate the crap, crud.
We ate food that would get you bloated after a while.
Yeah. I ate 3 pounds of New York strip at work the other day, and I was feeling good. I was bouncing off the walls.
That's a lot of meat.
Yep.
Yeah, but when you eat a pizza and a half, then you get all bloated and you get gassy, and you have to undo the belt buckle.
Oh, definitely. No, that's the stretchy pants there.
And the tryptophan kicks in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it takes hours to make gas.
Nope.
Papa had similar coworkers that would intentionally bring in duck food like donuts and cookies, knowing it would tempt me. Carnivore Muscle's just away from his keyboard, letting us know he actually hasn't fallen asleep yet. That's good. All right.
If they wanted to tempt me, they'd have to bring steaks in there.
Sandra says, I went to Church's Chicken with my dad on Father's Day, his favorite place to eat, and the smell of oil they used was nauseating.
Yes,
Well,
it
I'll tell
is.
you what, that was my favorite chicken growing up. That was a San Antonio thing. Where I'm from San Antonio, and that was Church's Fried Chicken was a San Antonio thing. Boy, I loved it.
They had it here too.
It turned out, I found out after I went carnivore, it wasn't the chicken I liked, it was the fried breading.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is like I used to be able to sit down and eat a chicken breast, but that's because I had barbecue sauce or ranch dressing, to help wash it down. But if you sit down and just try and eat a giant chicken breast without anything else,
can't do it.
It's dry. It's hard. It's hard to finish.
Got to drown it in butter to choke it down.
Yeah. Carnivore Muscle says 184.5 centimeters to 186 centimeters, 5.5 years into carnivore. What's he measuring?
Height. That's height.
Height?
Yeah, that's about 6 foot.
Okay. All right. So he gained height.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he's not hunched over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I was gonna say I'd love to gain some height. I'm 5'8". I need to totally rick out when it comes to my height.
Yeah, but that's an advantage if you have to go on an airplane.
I haven't measured my height in years, but I'm at that age now where we're supposed to be shrinking.
Yeah.
Probably won't.
Oh yeah, my parents have shrunk. My dad used to be 5'10". He's my height now. My mom, she was 4'10". She's like 4'8". My mom's a legal midget now. She kind of complains about it. Yeah. But Rick's 6'6".
Yep.
It'd be weird to walk around 6'6". Just that perspective would be strange.
For me, it's normal.
Well, I know you're used to it. So, all right, embrace your weirdness. Carnivores are the elites. Not everyone can do what we do. That is true.
That's right.
I'm presumptively here for Rick. Thought he would show. And there's a quack for you.
There you go.
And there's some more quacks for you. All right.
Duckies.
Okay. And there's Quack Senior and Quack Junior.
It's funny. There's people out there that don't know why that they associate me with ducks.
All right. Rained all day, very humid. It was raining here a moment ago.
Hasn't rained here in weeks.
My girlfriend is making a salmon fillet for dinner. I'm so hungry. Oh, that'll be good. I like salmon. You know what I've fallen in love with more, though, recently is steelhead trout. So,
I like snapper.
Rick is banned from Carrie's channel for now, anyway.
Yep.
Whether he did it or whether one of his moderators did it, right?
That's what I want to find out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if Carrie does show up for a debate. That'll be interesting.
The boys have got beef. Yeah, you know, Carrie comes across to me as a genuine guy. You know, he seems really nice. So I wonder if there's just some misunderstanding, or like you said, someone else clicked the ban button and it wasn't him.
That's what I figure. Because, you know, Carrie knows me. I mean, he couldn't have forgotten about me. I haven't talked to him in 2 years, but still, if he doesn't remember me, then the carnivore diet's not working.
You carnivore outlaw, you.
That's right.
All right, here's a question. Are any of you old enough into carnivore to remember the Food Lies documentary? So I have not watched Food Lies.
I haven't heard of it.
No, me either.
I saw it, but it was years ago.
Food Lies documentary.
It's similar to that Fathead documentary. Milton, what are you doing? I'm getting the paw treatment. What do you want?
I'll have to see where I have to look it up to see where you can maybe see it.
I'm interested
it's
now.
Featuring. It's even got like Sean Baker in there and Brett Scher, Eric Westman, Ben Bickman.
When was it produced?
David Feldman.
I like David Feldman.
I'm trying to see here. I'm at it's foodlies.org is the website for it. Yeah, I'm not sure. So you can pre-order it. So I'll look at it later. The film. Let me click on the film. Pre-order the film. Well, it can't be pre-order because he's out, because it's out. Okay.
I thought it was a group of
that might need updated. So no, that's something we'll have to look into. Food Lies.
I thought it was a group of TV shows, what I remember.
Food Lies. Anybody see the new Animal documentary yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I will, but I haven't seen it yet.
I have no way to see it.
Okay.
All right. So, Grammy comes back with the answer to the question. So, blood creatinine was 4.1 and urine creatinine was 34.2, a BUN of 73. I have no idea how to calculate all this. My EGFR was the level that came back from the blood work. Okay. So, EGFR. Okay, yeah, so that's your EGFR is calculated using creatinine. So yours was 4.1. When mine was 4.1, my EGFR was 17. My BUN was 68. I'm just looking at an old stat of mine. And I'm 49. So I know they factor age into that, and they probably the sex probably figures into that as well. Remember, EGFR is just an estimate too, so that's why you want to get the cystatin C and yeah, check those other markers like the urine test, 24-hour urine test. That'll be good too. So, all right. Food Lies documentary. A lot of hotel breakfasts have pancake mixed with scrambled eggs. Even some restaurants add it and also makes the eggs fluffy, and they use less eggs per serving. And, I've heard that too. mixing pancake mix with eggs. In fact, there's a restaurant.
Cheaping it out.
I think it's IHOP. If you go get a omelet from IHOP, they actually mix pancake batter with the eggs. And I found that out one time. The server just told me that. I had no clue.
Well, that's
I was
just
not
wrong.
I was not happy. So Carnivore Chans, welcome. Glad to have you here.
So
That's how most sell half cows, and it's however you want to cut them up. That goes back. We were showing those Duma Meats websites. I'm talking about buying half a cow here. So all right, let me look through these and bring ourselves current because I'm still half an hour behind. So Brian says grill all year round here in Pennsylvania. I don't grill much in the winter because it's hard to keep my grill hot.
All right, I'm gonna share this to give everybody an idea. Let's see. Paste.
Say hi to the feral grandma. Thanks for joining us.
There's the link. Indiegogo. Food Lies. He's not. I don't think he's produced it.
Keto Simple has joined the chat. All right.
Hey.
Good to have you here.
Justin.
I'm familiar with you. I've been over and watched some of your videos before. That's a familiar name there.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, Keto Simple. I think I've also seen you in Dr. Barry's group, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably so.
Yeah. All right.
I've never been in Dr. Barry's group.
Uh-oh. Atro's got 7 cats and a dog. The dog is my sidekick. Oh, there's the Wolfman Jack comment. I see that now. All right, I'm so finally catching up to that. I am watching on Charger Stellantis' channel. Is that you?
Must be me.
Frugal Prepper. I think I've seen your content also. I believe you had a video about how carnivore made you biphasic, and it actually has me too. I have a biphasic sleep pattern, having been on carnivore now for a while. Rock and Keto Amy, hi there. Glad to see you joining us too. And we have Random Hu Tao Simp. So hello, good to have all of you here. These must be people that Rick is siphoning over to us for the evening.
That's right.
All right, good job. CB Carmack says, people can't learn to realize doctors don't have a clue about nutrition. Medicine practice doesn't have anything to do with food. And I've come to accept that is absolutely correct.
Yep.
I am butting heads with several doctors about nutrition. So, and then the people who listen to the doctors about nutrition, you got family. Oh, the doctor said this, and it's like, the doctor just knows what he needs to do to treat a symptom with a prescription. And half the time, or more than half the time, probably most of the time, if you would just eat right, you wouldn't even need to go see him for any of those issues.
Yeah, doctors are not nutritionists. They are drug pushers.
Random Huta Simp says, during the 1,000-year reign of Christ, there is supposed to be no killing for food. So if you are a believer in Christ, meat may not be available when Jesus reigns on earth for 1,000 years. That is something we will have to wait and see. It's a little vague scripturally. I would say the key is to make sure that you're there to see for yourself. All right. You say you hate pizza. I'll never understand that, except for
I agree.
Pacemaker pizza.
That's good pizza. That's a good pizza.
Yeah. So that's what you need to Do you have that on a video? How to make a pacemaker pizza?
No, I haven't because I didn't have the ingredients. But now
Okay.
that somebody sent me enough eggs, I might make one. I think I got some white meat chicken in the freezer.
All right.
It's the only pizza that's deep fried in pure lard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good. Even my friends that love pizza, the regular stuff, they love my pacemaker pizza.
I'm down. I'll try it.
Yep.
It's the only pizza that doesn't get soggy.
Is it nice and crispy?
Yes.
All right.
The crust stays crisp. It's so full of fat that any moisture isn't going to be able to get in it, you know?
Keto Simple also says pizza should be the ultimate health food if current guidelines were correct. And you know what? I've had people say that back when I was in like Cub Scouts, or back when I was like as a parent participating in some sort of student function, and they ordered a bunch of pizza. I actually heard faculty and other parents say pizza is like the world's perfect food because you've got all 4 food groups in one meal.
I used to try to convince myself of that.
You've got your meat and you've got your veggies. Yeah. And it's like, oh, absolutely ridiculous. Hello, dog. What's up, dog? Come up here and say hi. Here's my dog. Hey, Willow. Hey, Willow.
Hey, Willow.
Hey.
All got our bits.
Yeah. Muscovy duck is my favorite cheat meal.
Mm-hmm. Go to the canal and grab one.
All right. The fear of keto, low carb, carnivore is to be expected. People have been sold the idea that meat and fat is bad for going on 100 years. Yeah, no, that's true. That's why people think you're crazy when you tell them you're on a carnivore diet. They're like, oh, what about all that fat?
Cholesterol.
The first question is like, what's your cholesterol like? Like it's like, don't worry about it. All right.
Especially when you haven't been to a doctor in 29 years.
I think it's going to take a whole lot of understanding and patience to get people to understand. Mm-hmm.
They never will.
Yeah. Just a very few listen. Very few. And usually the people that listen are the people who have already hit rock bottom health-wise, and they're desperate. You know, that's what happened to me. You know, I got to this point where I'm like, I need to do something about my weight and my health if it's not too late. Like I got to do something now and pray it's not too late, because it could be too late. You know, I was in my mid to late 40s. And I think a lot of people, they get to that. They hit rock bottom, and then they have the motivation to turn their life around. People become carnivore when the pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying the same. Yeah. That goes right in there. Right in there with exactly what you're saying. Got some good people on here, even at night. Yes, we do. This has been a nice, lively chat. So we're doing good. We got 44 according to StreamYard right now. They're watching. And so it's 10 o'clock on the hour. So I'll just take a moment to say that this is a roundtable discussion, and you are invited. So if you would like to be on the screen with us here, there's a variety of ways to do that. Channel membership's one, but being a member at carnivore-talk.com is free, and we have the link posted there. And tonight we are being generous, and I'm about to post the link in the chat. And so if you have a webcam and a microphone and some courage, this is a good way to get used to live streaming and being on air. If you're a smaller YouTuber, this is great practice. So come join us at the round table here. There's room for 10. We only have 4 on the screen at the moment, so that's room for 6 more. Come join this conversation. We would love to have you.
Alexis. Get up here.
Yeah. And if not, that's okay. We'll keep talking to you in the chat, and please hit that like button. And we'll move along here. I'm thinking of trying strict carnivore for 30 days for the first time. Any suggestions from the experts? This is from Rockin' Keto Amy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, do it. So I would assume you're keto currently based on your username. And that's good because you're already mostly there then. And if you eat 2 meals a day or 3 meals a day, I'd say keep doing that. And you just want to gradually have less and less veggies and more meat until you're all carnivore. And I would say, yeah, try it for at least 30 days. Some of my suggestions are every day, make your eggs a different way to kind of break up the monotony. So like I like to have scrambled eggs one day, over easy another day. I like to have an omelet another day. And then I'll also switch between bacon one day, sausage another day. And that way I'm not eating the same thing day after day after day. And I do the same thing with dinner too. I'll have ground beef one day. I will have New York strips. That's my favorite steak another day. Sometimes I will have sliced meat seasoned and in a egg life wrap. That'll be like my beef fajita kind of thing with no veggies in it. And then, but you can have cheese and you can have sour cream. And I'm personally not against a little taco seasoning. And then of course there's chicken, particularly chicken thighs and chicken legs that are going to be fatty. Eat it with the skin. And then trout or salmon, seafood. I like seafood. I'm a big believer in eating the rainbow of meats, not just for the variety, but you'll also round out your nutrition as well. The key would be, just like in keto, it's supposed to be high fat. You don't want to skimp on the fat because that is your energy source in lieu of carbs. But if you're already rocking the keto, Amy, you probably already know that. So that'd be some of my tips. Anybody else have tips for Amy?
Yes. My main tip, and it's what I've been telling a lot of people here lately, is get Sean Baker's book, The Carnivore Diet, and learn actually how to eat carnivore. He puts out a very good book that is very easy to read, and he does a great job of explaining the hows and the whys for doing this. And that's the best advice I can give anybody, is start off knowing exactly how to do it. So many people get into this and they don't really understand it, and they end up doing it wrong, and they get frustrated because things don't work or they set up expectations that they shouldn't have. So get the book, read it, understand it, and then start doing carnivore. And I think you'll be a lot more successful, and it'll really help you out.
Yeah, and Baker's book is a good suggestion too, because it is written in easy to understand language.
Yes.
So there's some other books out there that can be actually very scientific, very studious, that might be a bit over your head. But Baker's book is actually very nice here.
It's an excellent book.
Yeah. So let's welcome Lexi. I'm sorry, Lexi to the screen. And Dustin from Keto Simple.
All right.
Howdy.
Hey, awesome.
All right.
Yeah. So
Good
we're
to know.
currently answering this question for Amy here. Any suggestions from the experts about trying strict carnivore for 30 days? So if you have any other anything else to add?
I'm only on day 21, so I don't have much advice.
We need a good, like a female's point of view, opinion, because this is a male dominated panel and we can't relate to women issues. So what would be good for a female to start a carnivore?
I think just making sure you're eating a lot of fat. And this is something I'm grappling with, is not worrying about the weight gain, because I've been on carnivore for 3 weeks now, and oh my gosh, I've gained like 5 pounds, and yes, my mental health has gotten a lot better. So, but it's still hard to accept. But I think I just need to get that out of my head and continue to keep eating high fat with my meals and everything, just because like my psychotic symptoms are almost gone. So yeah, that's my advice. High fat.
All right. Yeah, very good. And that's what you mentioned isn't unusual either. We always like to refer back to my zero carb life. What's her name, Geoff?
Dave.
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan initially gained weight on her carnivore diet and didn't start losing for 6 months.
Yeah.
And now she's pencil thin, and very healthy. Yeah.
The only piece of advice I would give is kick the scale to the curb. Don't worry about you don't want to weigh yourself. All you worry about is how your body feels. This is for keto, rocking keto, but that's the best advice for anyone starting carnivore is don't worry about the scale. It goes by what your body's going to tell you if this is going to make you feel better or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In conjunction with. Go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, I actually, for this whole time, I wasn't weighing myself. Like, I don't know if you guys are religious at all, but so I started carnivore June 10th of this year, and the day before, I was telling God, I prayed, I was like, God, I don't mind if I gain like 10 pounds. I just need to be able to stick to this way of eating so I can heal my mental illness. And so I wasn't weighing myself. I was just like, if I gain a little weight, that's okay. So, but I don't know. I'd like to hear from you guys. When did you guys start losing weight?
Well, I started losing immediately, but I'm a guy and that happens. Women can struggle due to hormonal issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's harder for y'all than it is for us. That's just how it is. Sorry. It's a fact of life. So it's just something you have to deal with. Now, in conjunction with what Kurt was saying, I generally like to advise people not to worry about the weight. Now, I weigh myself every day. I mean, I'm over 2 years into carnivore, and I still like to keep track of my weight. But to me, it's just a fun thing to do. It's just a numbers thing for me. I don't pay attention to it that much. The best metric you can use is a cloth tape measure. Measure your body, because that is what will tell you what's happening, because you can actually gain weight, you can actually stall out on weight and yet still be losing inches. So keep a journal, measure every part of your body, measure your forearms, your bicep, your shoulders, your chest, your neck, your belly, your hips, your thighs, your calves. Write all this down. And then 30 days from now, measure again and see what the difference is. And you'll be amazed.
I've noticed I haven't measured myself. I think I will, but just to see a month from now how I'm doing. But I have noticed since starting carnivore that, my stomach's gotten fluffier, my face has gotten rounder, so I mean, like I said, I'll measure myself because I'm like, who knows, maybe a couple months from now, I will start losing weight. But I also need to remind myself that it's not about the weight. It's about my mental health.
And that's what kept Kelly Hogan going strong. She had so many metabolic issues that she was dealing with that when she started seeing the improvement in 30 days of her metabolic condition, this encouraged her to stick with it, whether she lost weight or not, because she was healing. And sometimes I think, and I have no proof of this, but I think that our bodies often have to heal before they become optimal. And your weight loss is getting into optimal. And so I believe some people's bodies just got to go through a lot of healing first.
And in line with what Geoff just said, there's a certain community out there that really promotes something that they call priming.
Yeah.
And that's, when they start the carnivore diet, they want you to eat. And I mean, really eat, and whenever you're hungry, whenever you're, because you're going to have these cravings, satisfy it with meat, eat your 3 meals. If you want to snack, eat meat, and you just, they even say you'll probably gain weight because the focus is on replenishing your nutrition and that might be missing from your body, and then the adaptation phase. And then you become so satiated that you find yourself eating less, and then the weight starts coming off. So there's a community that actually
Bella
promotes
that.
promotes this priming,
And,
which will result in weight gain. I will just say that, like, you know, as a general rule, you know, you want to eat based on your satiety level, 2 to 3 meals a day, no snacks, you know. So if you find yourself snacking in between meals, then maybe you need to have a bigger meal so that it can actually last you to the next meal, you know. And if you decide you're going to eat twice a day instead of 3 times a day, well, whatever the amount of mass was in those 3 meals, you want to combine those into those 2 meals. And you put that in an intermittent fasting window. The reason for that is every time you eat, when you snack, you're going to raise your insulin, regardless of what you're eating. You could be eating meat. You could be eating meat. Protein will have an insulin response. And what you want to do is give your body, you know, time to relax, use up the stuff that you've consumed, maybe even burn some of your own weight, you know. So if you're snacking on the regular, you want to work your way towards not doing that, you know, and just try and stick with your meal times and no snacks. So
I actually don't snack in between meals, thank God. I do make sure I'm eating enough during my meals, especially enough fat. I notice that really satiates me. But today it's like I tried to only have 2 meals. I know it's too early on for me to try that, but I just got so triggered from the weight gain, and I did a little tracking a couple days ago, just to see where I was at and why I was gaining weight. I know there's multiple factors to why you can gain weight, but I saw I was eating like 3,000 calories a day, and that really triggered me. And so today I tried to eat like 1,900 calories, which is about my maintenance, and it just didn't work.
No.
I was craving food so bad. I just ate like, what did I just eat? I had a burger and like a burger patty and like 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and 1 tablespoon of butter. And now I feel better. So, but I don't know.
okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is this is for Rock and Keto Amy, I think it is. If you're starting out on carnivore, and say you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker in the morning, and say you do happen to use some kind of sweetener, don't try to give everything up all at once. Don't try to quit sugar or your sweetener and give up vegetables. Slowly, baby steps. Just take your time easing into this. Otherwise, you're going to be overwhelmed mentally, and then it's going to affect you physically.
Yep. And that's why I haven't given up my teaspoon of honey yet, just because I don't want to give up everything yet. But yeah,
That could be holding you back.
maybe.
I don't want to. I hate to say that, but that's pure sugar, and it could cause an insulin spike. You know.
Yep.
And then you know, you need to metabolize that first before you resume burning fat. You know, so that might bump you out of ketosis for a while until the honey's been metabolized, and then you go back into ketosis. But then now it's time for another meal. You know, so just some food for thought. I consume on average 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. So I start off with my breakfast meats and eggs. That's probably 1,000 calories. And then my dinner will be a New York strip. That'll probably be around 800 calories. And then sometime in the middle of the day, I might have lunch. I might just get some beef jerky and some cheese from a gas station if I'm in a hurry, or I might stop at a McDonald's and get my 4 quarter-pound beef patties, you know, and that's that. What I like to try and do to intermittent fast is I'm a tea drinker, and so tea helps me to, if I wake up and I drink tea, I can drink tea until noon, 1 o'clock without even having to have breakfast. the tea actually satiates me and stops me from feeling hungry, and then I can eat 2 meals a day. You know,
Mhm.
Who's
So-
who's the handsome bearded gentleman on the panel?
Good evening. My name is Dustin, our Keto Simple. Let's see. A quick introduction for myself. I have been living this lifestyle keto and intermittently carnivore since 2016. Have a YouTube channel for 5 years. Been consistently posting here for 4. So that's who I am.
Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Nice to meet all of you,
yes,
So,
it's a pleasure.
welcome.
except Rick. But one thing that I wanted to say to Amy, I said in the chat, but just to clarify for anybody who may not be able to see all the chat, or one thing I said to Amy, if you're looking to start a new protocol like this, so you know yourself best. So what I always recommend to people is just keep it as simple, affordable, and you'll most likely have zero problem. She's been keto for a long time, so this won't be that big of a stretch for her. And I don't think she's really concerned necessarily about the weight loss at this point, probably just to see what she can optimize with herself by going carnivore for 30 days. So I think, how I always approach it is I just simple as I can, just burger patties, frozen burger patties, whether they're on sale from Walmart or Costco, whatever, eggs, butter, bacon. Just keep it, because I don't like a lot of hassle and fuss. So I just try to make it as brainless and mindless for myself as I can. And that's what I always try to recommend to other people is how can you make it just like, you get up in the morning, if you have coffee, you know how to make your coffee. You don't even think about it anymore. Same thing with making your burger patties, your eggs, whatever. And mix it up, hard-boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, over easy, whatever.
And thus the username, Keto Simple.
Yeah.
Yep, it's in the name. I like it. All right, good
Love
advice. Yeah. CB says I was sitting down to relax and saw the stream. What's that?
I was just going to say, along with keeping it simple, I will say I did medical keto for my mental health for about 8 months. And I was making like all kinds of elaborate meals. And once I started carnivore, like it was so much simpler. I found it easier to stick to than medical keto. Yeah, so that's something I wanted to add.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Rockin' Amy likes bacon, eggs, ground beef, pork belly, and ribeyes. There you go. That's your those are all your
Ain't
primary
nothing wrong
food
with
groups.
It's awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
All right. Feral Grandma says, my husband has convinced himself that low-carb alcohols like certain beers or bourbon is okay. I'm wondering if he'll get his out before he suffocates. So anybody still drink?
Nope.
Never
Drink
did.
what? Alcohol?
Yeah.
No. Quit.
I used to be a heavy drinker. Was never an alcoholic. I just drank all the time. And
Alcoholic.
yeah.
So
But I just lost my taste for it. Once I became carnivore, I was a light drinker, but I just lost my taste for it. That's all there is to it.
Amen to that.
about once every month or two, my wife and I will go out for karaoke, and I might have a drink then, but that's it. So, but I used to, man, I've got a shelf of alcohol in the kitchen that I used to attack every day. And I used to have something with dinner. I used to have something, a nightcap right before bed. And I drank all the time. And those bottles are still sitting there 2 years later, haven't been touched. They got dust all over them. I don't even know if they're any good anymore.
I had a bad dream the other day because my wife loves to use goat milk. And I was dreaming, and she had made her coffee. She was making her coffee. And I wanted coffee, but we were out of milk. And I'm like, there's a bottle on the counter. It's Bailey's Irish Cream. And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to add a little bit of that to my coffee. And then I woke up. I don't even remember drinking it. That's what I'm going to do. And then I woke up, but
For an
that's the first
alcoholic,
time.
that's not a dream. That's a nightmare.
I was gonna say it's a nightmare.
Well, yeah, scary.
I've never had any like dreams where I'm eating something I shouldn't be eating. That's never happened to me. That would be strange. So, Rock and Keto Amy asks, "Do you all eat cheese on carnivore?"
I do
Not anymore.
limitedly.
Yeah, I do. I don't go overboard, but I do use it to complement my dishes.
I made a mistake the other day. I was in a rush on my way to work. I wanted some meat to go with my eggs, so I stopped at McDonald's. Wasn't thinking. Ordered three-quarter pounder patties with cheese. Not
Oops.
good.
No,
Not
you
good.
didn't get real cheese.
Diarrhea.
I would
Yep.
like to say we always talk about, cheese. The question always comes up, do you eat cheese? Can you eat cheese on carnivore? And one thing we need to always remember is, yes, it can be considered carnivore. Yes, you can eat cheese as long as you can tolerate it. And as long as it's not addictive to you, it should be eaten in moderation. But the key to all of it is make sure it's whole fat cheese. Don't eat the
Yes.
skim crap, because the skim crap, the low fat, all that, you're just
Processed.
getting pure lactose. You're just getting pure sugars because they've taken all the fat out. So stay away from that stuff and make sure it's whole fat, whole milk cheese.
And Keto Simple's comment here too is worthy of consideration, because sometimes people have a sensitivity to cheese. It causes them to stall, or
exactly.
or maybe you just have some gut disturbances. So yeah, you might fare better on a carnivore diet that's cheese free or dairy free.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're the type of person where some dairy and cheese is just fine. So that's kind of individual. So cheese sensitivity is a thing, or I should say dairy sensitivity is a thing. Even egg sensitivity is a thing. There's some people there's people out there that have a problem with beef because of the histamines. So,
but if you struggle with losing weight, you struggle with medical issues, you struggle with weight gain, then look to your cheese.
For me, I noticed I had to cut out heavy cream. I did yesterday just because I had like addictive behaviors around it.
Exactly.
So so I was going to ask you if you did any kind of dairy, and there's another principle too, is don't drink your calories. It's kind of something I believe in. Like don't drink them. Even you tell someone that drinks fruit juice or a Coke not to drink your calories. I think the same thing applies to drinking heavy cream. So you might use that in a recipe to make a sauce or some carnivore ice cream once in a while as a treat, but I wouldn't use it on the regular. Yeah. Lacho says, when I broke carb addiction, I no longer wanted alcohol. It must have wiped out some brain connections in the addict center. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Metabolic Mind actually just posted a video about that today, about the link between ketosis and stopping your addictions.
Yeah. He has to break the snack habit to break the carb habit. Feral Grandma says, go to bed, Jonathan. Ooh, grilled shark steaks. I've never had shark.
It's good stuff.
So she says cheese and flames are a little bit. Latro's met Carrie and Adam several times. Great people. Yeah, like I said, I think there's something amiss here in the Carrie versus Rick saga.
Sounds almost like a wrestling match.
Something's not adding up. So we'll get it figured out here.
Carrie versus Rick.
Stevie says that they like grouper. Yep. I don't think I've ever had grouper either.
It's good fish.
Yeah. They catch it here. I've caught it before. Snapper's better.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
I like that there are so many voices out there, both carnivore and not carnivore. Over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to learn so much. Yeah, I agree. I think it's nice that this is taken off in the sense that, not that it's becoming popular. I don't think this will ever be popular, but more and more people are being educated. And so there are people that are listening and they're applying it and they're turning their lives around. So it's
becoming irrelevant.
It's like a word of mouth movement, you know? So like we can't, so a bunch of us have YouTube channels, you know, and that's great and all, but I've probably been most effective just talking to one person at a time, you know, face to face, heart to heart, and really just sitting down one-on-one and explaining it, you know, I think that's probably been more effective than any video I've ever made. So, or maybe just feels that way because you're getting immediate feedback that way versus when you publish a video, it's got a bunch of views, and some comments, but you know, you don't really know the impact it's had as it does when you're talking to someone face to face.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the new documentary Animal in my Amazon video library. I will have it soon. I do plan on buying it, torrenting it, getting my hands on it somehow.
Torrent.
I'll buy it. I'm legit.
I don't think it's available on torrent yet. I had to rent it, so.
Yeah.
When they sell it, do they give you a DVD?
If you buy it on Amazon, it's going to be
only, like everything else
digital.
now.
So that means if they get to where they don't like it, they can take it away from you.
I'm
That's
going to wait,
ridiculous.
and I'm going to wait until it becomes free. And if it don't become free, I'm not missing anything.
There you
From-
go.
Couldn't somebody just
Here-
rent it and record it?
From what I understand, it's a really good video. It's very well put together. But for those of us who have been doing carnivore for a long time, it's not
We
going to
already
teach
know
us anything new.
Mhm.
It's going to be interviewing the same people that we follow day in and day out, saying the same
Mhm.
things that we already know, you know, either
Mhm.
from our own experience or from what they have taught us. So I'm not going to spend money for that when I can get the same thing just by watching YouTube for free.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't really think it's for us. I think it's all the same information, like you said, just a different venue. It's polished, it's nice. And what Amy says a little bit further down, that you know, basically saying along the lines that that it's there's not a lot of emotional connection in there. There's not a lot of personal stories. I think there's like one real personal story. And that was kind of the way I think they edited it. In my opinion, it was hard to follow what she was talking about.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really more for people outside of our community, the people who aren't,
I agree.
you know, like you said, following all
I
these
agree.
people, watching them day in and day out. They don't know who Dr. Barry is. They don't know who Dr. Chafee is. No, you know,
Right.
they don't know who Sean Baker is.
And that's why I said for us that have been doing this for a long time, that's why I'm not going to watch it unless it becomes free. I just don't need it. But yeah, I'm all for anybody that's not familiar with
Well, I watched
carnivore,
it-
just starting out. It's perfect.
I had somebody I had somebody super chat me the money to watch it. So
Nice.
I went ahead and I was like, because they wanted me to review it. So I went ahead and I did it on my live last week and watched it last weekend. And I mean, it's entertaining to a degree, but like, you know, but there's just nothing new. I think there was some information about the telomeres and things like that a lot of people may not know. And some of the things about longevity with humans possibly being 120 years and we're passing away at 60, 70, 80 years old, maybe living to 90. So there's a little bit of that information that I don't think is that
Mhm.
widespread. But outside of that, I think it's basically a connect the dots kind of overlook of carnivore as a whole. So
Yeah.
Well, I think there are, I have a few of them bookmarked, save for later. And I find any interesting shorts that any of these doctors put out, I save them for later. It's so easy just to compile something like that for
I gotta
if
get
you
going,
want.
guys. I took my melatonin at 8 and now my brain's all mush.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
all right.
Good night,
It was
Lex.
nice
Take care.
meeting you and seeing you.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Have a good night,
Take care.
Lexi. Kurt, keep on with your thought. I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be back.
All right. But I've like I said, I've got them for save for later. I can't see even investing my money into this because, like Geoff said, it's people that we've heard. We can see this stuff for free. We already know. And I want to handpick the stuff that I want to introduce people to carnivore to. I've shown some people, that everybody's worried about cholesterol. And my go-to statement for when people mention cholesterol is, why would your liver try to kill you? And they're like, huh? Because your liver makes 80% of the cholesterol in your body. So if cholesterol is bad for you, then maybe you should take your liver out, have it taken out, and see if you can live. That's my first and my intro statement to carnivore. And if they're not interested after that, then I just leave it be. It just gives them some food for thought. But some of the shorts that Dave Mack's been putting out, not shorts, but the short 5 or 7 minute videos lately have been really, really eye catching. It just caught my attention, and it's short, it's sweet, and it gets to the point. And the more he does those, the more the easier the information is for people to digest. Some of these doctors can get too technical, or it might be the air about them, how they convey the message. With Dave Mack, he's just out there. It's like he's presenting something to a 5-year-old. Makes it so easy for everybody to understand.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Sometimes it's like someone like Nick Norwitz. I'll take like an article of his and I'll put it through Chat GPT, and I'm like, just give me a rundown of what he's saying. Act like I'm 5, because it's like I can grasp a good amount of it, but I mean, he's an Oxford and Harvard graduated doctor, so like, he's got way more going on than I can understand. So
I follow him, but I find myself zoning out quite a bit.
Yep. Love Nick. Okay, I'm off my pedestal.
Yeah, I watch Nick videos too. They're informative. They're interesting sometimes, So he gets a lot of criticism though from others in the community too. So, Amy, you said you were in Ohio for a meetup. I'm in Ohio. What meetup? I need to know these things.
There was a meetup. It was with it was a Safe Harbor meetup on Saturday with Andy and Susan. She has a channel. And as I go to say it, my brain goes, nope, you don't need to remember that. It is Milady Laugh a Lot is her channel.
My Lady Laugh a Lot.
Milady, so M-I, like Milady. Here, let me look it up real quick.
Lady Laugh a Lot.
It might be Milady Laugh a Lot. I'm looking at my own stuff. Hold
on.
Oh, hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Bart K is another one I love.
Yeah. Bart K. Yeah, Bart K. So Bart K is not too fond of Nick. But I do like Bart K a lot.
I try to get along with everybody, and as long as they're not pushing, and as long as they're not pushing the carb cycling, insulin lowering, we're gonna die type narrative, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Bart would say, it's just a construct.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I don't understand how there is so much beef with all the creators and all the doctors and everything, because not a single one of us knows everything, and we all have to really pay attention to each other, because I mean, like I said, this is where, I mean, realistically, where we're at with carnivore and keto. Yeah, keto's kind of been around since like the turn of the century, 1900s, but that was really formulated for epilepsy, but utilizing it on a daily basis. We're still learning things, utilizing carnivore. We're still learning things. And I think, like I said in that comment, like the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to learn a lot of things. And what we think we know now is going to shift and change. So that's like, I don't understand how we get so up in arms over a lot of the creators, but like whether it's Maria Emmerich or, Sean Baker or any like Nick Norwitz or whoever it might be. I think we have to really embrace each other, not all kumbaya, but I mean, realistically, if our goal truly is to make as many people out there healthy as possible, it's going to take every last one of us, because we understand that 99% of the population probably won't go strict carnivore.
Well,
It's just, I mean, coming from, at least not over our lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't think, I just don't see it happening coming from sad diet of that many people. Now, I could be wrong. And like I said, over the next 5 to 10 years, we will definitely see a shift, but none of us have any understanding or any idea what it's going to look like. So that's why I'm,
No.
and you can ask Rick, in my lives, I want everybody. I don't even care if it's Weight Watchers. If you're trying to better yourself and you're trying to be healthy and you're doing whatever you can do, you're taking those steps to be healthy. Come on, we've got to work together. We have to.
Planting
People are
seeds.
sick out
I
there.
agree wholeheartedly with that. And that's why I constantly try and, even though I call the channel Carnivore Talk, and I definitely promote a meat-based diet, I am not someone who's going to shame someone who does keto, ketovore, or animal-based, or if they choose to be low carb. I consider myself a student of Dr. Berry, so I believe in his proper human diet spectrum, from 0 carb carnivore on one end up to 100 low carbohydrate mammal on the other end. And where you fit on that spectrum is very individualistic, and your DNA could play a role in that. And I firmly believe that. So I sometimes get some flack because I'm actually a fan of Paul Saladino, and I think the guy is brilliant and knows what he's talking about. I don't think his diet is for everybody, by any means, but there is a population of people who do thrive on it. And you can't say that doesn't exist, because there's thousands of people out there doing it that will prove you wrong, So, and my basic philosophy is like, my personal philosophy, not just talking to me here, is I believe in a carnivore-centric diet that is consisting of natural, single ingredient whole foods, so I will dog on Doritos and Cheetos and honey buns and Skittles and things like that are completely unnatural. But
Disgusting.
if someone wants to come in here on the screen and talk about that they eat fruit and raw honey, they're welcome here. That's fine. I don't care. And I try and emphasize that like, when it comes to dieting and losing weight, you can do that on any diet. Now I do think that certain diets are more optimal.
Yes.
I said in a video that the other day that even a well-crafted vegan diet can work for someone only because of modern technology. I do believe, I do believe you have to supplement, and you can't be a raw vegan, you'll die. Most do, but if you are that compassionate for animals that you just don't want to eat them, you can still live to 80, 90 years old without them. Today's technology allows that to happen. Will you have optimal health? I don't think so, but will you have a measure of health if you do it right? Yeah, probably, so that's just my opinion. So yeah, I agree about, we don't want to be militant carnivores in the same vein as there are militant vegans, that want to shame you for your choices. I don't think we want to have that same kind of mental attitude, you know, towards those who don't eat like us. So
Well,
I
I
agree
try
with
and
that
I want to be more
100%.
accepting, you know.
what I was
Because you never
pushing.
know, you're going to get somebody coming in who is day one just starting out, and they come and they put their plate of food down, what they've just eaten or whatever, and somebody jumps all over them because there's like a piece of broccoli or some pepper, and then they're like, you know what, I don't need this, I'm out of here, and then you've lost somebody.
Right.
Well, my point was I was making was the video where Dr. Soez was pushing the humans were going to have trouble producing insulin because they were eating carnivore diet. Now, nobody, I mean, he was trying to push the narrative because it's similar to, you know, our appendix previously being our, somebody help me here. What's the word?
Cecum.
Cecum.
Oh,
Yeah.
the appendix was supposedly a long cecum at one time.
Right. And it's no longer used. And that's probably because we adapted to eating more meat than produce, vegetables, fruits. And that's where he was trying to go with eating carnivore, where I don't agree with that. Okay. People eating diets of fruits, vegetables, whatever, if it works for you, that's fantastic. But don't try to push people away from a certain diet because of your opinions, just because you are in the medical field. Have you done studies on this? No. I can practically guarantee he was pulling this stuff out of thin air. That's my opinion. I am all pro Whole Foods. If it works for you, that's fantastic. Keep doing it, as long as it keeps us off of the big pharma and the nasty crap that they call food in the center of the store.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
what
with
I
that as
said.
well. I've posed the question before as well, just as like a thought experiment. So as we were coming out of a SAD diet, most of us come from a SAD diet background where I was over 400 pounds. We were never in ketosis. We were never in a ketogenic state, and that is not healthy. So I've always tried to pose the question: if we are in a such, like, say you get into a ketogenic state and you're hardly ever out of ketosis, is there a possibility that could be just as damaging in the long run as well? So I think it's a definite thing to think about. I imagine there'll be studies done as we move the next 10, 5, 10, 15 years. And as we learn more about this, because I don't necessarily think that we'll truly ever get away from secreting insulin. I think that's a natural part of the body, regardless of what we're eating. Even if you're eating straight carnivore, if you smell food, you're probably going to still secrete some insulin because your body goes, I'm about to eat. Let me secrete a little bit of insulin. So it's just a matter of how much.
When you eat lean beef or lean meats, your body it will spike your blood sugar so high that it's going to activate your pancreas to secrete insulin. I know because I had lean meat before, since doing carnivore, and I had a CGM. Because I went lean for a little bit, and it just spiked my glucose. It was in about 150. So that right there for me is a moot point, because you're correct that regardless of what you eat, even if you smell it, it could, help you secrete insulin. I can practically guarantee whatever you eat, yeah, fruits, vegetables.
Yeah, you should have an insulin response when you eat protein. It won't be as great as eating carbs, but you'll still have some.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't. So I like Dr. Saivas also, and I've heard him talk about this supposed, obviously contested and controversial opinion on insulin suppression, whether it's a thing or not. And I just listen to his side, and then I listen to the other side, and I really don't have much of a comment on it. So I think Dr. Sivas has done a lot of good for a lot of people. So and I think he's worth listening to if you're interested in getting into the low carb or keto sphere of lifestyle. He's going to be a good source of education, even if his opinions on the insulin suppression are incorrect.
I agree.
Like, yeah, like, and I know, like, Bart K and the kid that's a mini Bart K, they've made some videos that are really ragging on him, and they bring up some. They bring up some.
Yeah,
good
Ed
points.
Goki.
They're saying, yeah, that's him, Ed Goki. They bring up some good points that are worth hearing out. Both of them are very smart, and so just listen to both sides, and again, it's going to come down to your N equals 1. So you try carnivore for a while and see if you thrive. And if for some reason you feel like you need to come off the zero carb end of the proper human diet spectrum and work your way this way a little bit with some carbs, and that's where you feel better, are healthier, and thrive even more, that's fine. That's okay. That's you, and we're all going to be different. So, and I imagine Keto Simple, you probably talk more about a ketogenic diet, or do you talk about carnivore most of the time?
It's a healthy mix, really, because I do a lot. My primary, what I like to do the best is like in that triple B and E spectrum. So, I think I started as keto. That's where my channel name came from. So, but I've transitioned more towards a meat centric side of things. But I still like veggies from time to time. I still like onions and things. And so I'm open to all of it, really. Because like you said, I think there is a necessity for the full spectrum, because you're not going to get everybody, because people are not going to respond well. We understand that females respond a little differently. They need more cyclic. And I know I've seen that firsthand. So, where they need to have like some carb cycling during certain weeks of the month and such to help them transition and help their hormones respond. And men are a little different, but not everybody. Some men may need that. And I think realistically, us getting to know who we are and really working to dial in how we feel the best is the most important piece of everything that we do here. And not, and I know how I feel my best doing like triple B and E, having, just beef and eggs and fat in my coffee during the day and such, and not eating a lot of junk. I feel my best. But I understand that that's not going to be what helps everybody. So that's why I try to be as open as possible.
Yeah. So I consider myself 97% carnivore, so I still use a little seasonings, and then once in a while we go out to eat, and then I might have, whatever side is going to be keto friendly. If I'm going to cheat, I'm going to cheat with keto. And then I have some fruit trees in the backyard that, the cherries were available 2 weeks ago, and the apples will be available in the end of August. I'll pick from them seasonally. And I think that really does imitate what ancient man had done. You hear a lot, man's been eating meat as long as they've been drinking water and breathing oxygen, is what one famous YouTuber likes to repeat a lot. And you know what? We've also been eating some plants and some fruitage for just as long, so I do think it should be season. I treat it like it's seasonal. I just treat it like it's rare. So like most days of the week, probably most days over a course of a 2-week span, I have a pure carnivore meal: beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I'll throw in poultry and seafood and stuff like that too. And then, like I said, once in a while, if I go to use an example of a graduation party, you know, and there's nothing to eat there, but there's a fruit tray, I might have some fruit to hold me over so I can have a proper meal, you know. And I'm personally have nothing against that. It doesn't bother my conscience one bit. It doesn't affect my health one bit either. So I'm completely okay. And keto works. You know, I don't think if someone, you know, want to pit keto versus carnivore, I don't think that's really it's a match of one versus the other. I think one's actually just kind of an extension of the other, you know, and because carnivore is a ketogenic diet for the most part.
It's all part of the spectrum.
It's all part of the spectrum. Yep. Yeah.
Well, you know, Dustin was talking earlier, you know, about the different influencers and all that, you know, and people getting onto them and everything. The deal with eating a ketogenic diet, which carnivore is there will never be anybody that is an absolute expert on any of this, simply because we are all different with different physiologies. What works for you may not work for me. So I can't say you have to do it this way. You have to do it my way. Because my way ain't going to work for you. Now, I was one of the fortunate ones that I followed the guidelines of Dr. Berry, and then eventually when I found Baker, I followed his guidelines and I read his book, and everything they said to do worked for me. But that's just me. Now, I haven't experienced all the benefits, but I've experienced the majority of the benefits. But that's just me. You know, every one of you guys has had a totally different experience with this than I have. You know, so none of us can ever be experts. We can only offer our N of one experiments, what's worked for us individually. And somebody else can try. Maybe we can present a different idea for them that may help them and may work. But yeah, the diet, this way of eating will always be experimental and individualistic to the person.
Very well said. All right. Simpson John says, I know Rick, of course, but who are the other three? So if your screen looks like mine, top row, I'm Bob. In the middle is Geoff. And to the right is Kurt. We're from carnivore-talk.com. And then we have Dustin from Keto Simple. And we have, obviously, Rick, Charger Mopar. And they've got their own channels. I think Rick is restreaming this right now, which we appreciate. And if you're on Carnivore Talk watching this live, make sure you go over to Rick and Dustin's channel and subscribe to their channels as well and show them your support. Because we're all in this together, which has been our theme now for the last 20 minutes or so. So we're all on the team here. Let's catch up on our chat. Rockin' Keto Amy says she's ketovore and down 110 pounds. That's awesome. That is great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And wanted to try carnivore for mental clarity and energy. All right. Well, go for it. Go for it. And I hope you see the results that you're hoping you will see. All right. I've noticed that if you give diabetes an inch, it will take a foot.
Yeah, ask Thomas about that.
You know, that'd be funnier if it wasn't so doggone true.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, Tom, he's actually lost some toes, I believe.
Yeah.
And part of the heel.
And part of the heel. Okay. Yeah. And he's doing pretty good. So Feral Grandma was surprised when the TMJ click went away and the tinnitus went faster. So tinnitus is ringing in the ear. The TMJ, is that like in the jaw? Is that a click in the jaw?
I don't know.
I wouldn't.
TMJ is like it's like a clicking or like a sticking of the jaw. Yeah.
Okay.
And it hurts.
Right.
You have your mouth open a lot.
Okay.
Well, I sure wish my tinnitus would go away.
Same here.
Yeah. Latcher says, well, here's some gum disease too. And you know what? I will attest to that. So I used to have horrible bleeding gums, and my dentist wanted me go see a specialist who would remove my gums, clean my roots, and then sew my gums back on. And then my teeth would be longer than they were before. And I said, of course, heck no. And then I discovered carnivore, and I don't have any bleeding gum issues anymore.
A
never
long,
had
long
that
time
either.
ago, that they did that to my mother, and she ended up with false teeth because of it. Ruined her.
Mm.
I've never had any tooth problems.
I've had one root canal only because I used to have a tongue ring when I was a punk in my teens, and I bit down on it and chipped a tooth, and then eventually that one rotted because it was very thin. Latro says 30 days or more to experience the lifting of brain fog and reduction in anxiety. That is true. Who's oh, we lost Geoff.
Yeah.
Okay. He just came back. I said, who's that popping in here?
Yeah, we're having a storm here right now. So, and I have to stream. I have to do Wi-Fi off of a dish. So bouncing off a tower. So I wouldn't be surprised if I end up losing everybody.
All right. Mama Cracker says we've she's talking to Amy, have some cooked bacon or sausages ready in the fridge to get past the cravings. It's good advice. So, all right. And I'm going to skip through here. A lot of conversation that's 45 minutes old now here. And it's getting late. It's 11. This is officially our longest live.
Let's go. We're going to compete with Rick.
This is our longest
No one
Monday
can
night
beat my
live
record.
ever. Yeah.
This is the largest panel we've had tonight, too.
Yep.
Yeah. What did we had 6 at one point, right? I think 6 is our record. We've never had
Lexus, yeah.
7 yet. We've had 6 a couple times though.
And I put her YouTube handle in here somewhere in the chat, I thought.
Oh, is that the Milady Laugh a Lot?
No, the lady that joined us.
Lexus Jones.
Lexus.
Lexi, yeah. I thought I had it here, but I'm not seeing it now.
Just a second.
My subscriptions. I did subscribe to her recently.
I'll get her.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to her, so I can dig it up.
Yeah, she's only got like 30 subscribers or something like that.
Oh, come on.
Milton.
Where is she? Where is
Dustin's got a good point. A teaspoon. I didn't think about the quantity. A teaspoon is only 6 grams of sugar.
she? No, that ain't it.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it optimal for a lot of people just starting out? No. But I also kind of think like when people talk about like Paul Saldino, he surfs like 7 hours a day and he's jacked.
Right.
So he can get away with eating mangoes and all the fruit that he does because
he burns
his
it up.
metabolism isn't like mine.
All right.
All right, here we go. Here's her handle.
Oh, I wonder what that means.
That means good morning.
Does it?
I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's good morning.
All right. Good morning.
That's for like doing these and have somebody having like, a producer that can kind of do that kind of stuff and like
Obey the beard. That's funny. So it reminded me of you ever watch the channel Beard Meets Food?
yes,
Yeah.
I like his channel.
Yeah, he's an entertaining guy. There was a time when I, in a past life, meaning just like 5 years ago, I probably could have had a YouTube channel where I was stuffing my face like that. I probably could have ranked up there with him.
If YouTube was a thing back when I was eating like that, I probably would have done the same thing. But I think he's kind of a guy. I think he eats like that and then he fasts for a couple of days.
I imagine they all do. I watch him. I watch a guy named Eli. Then you have Randy Santel and his girlfriend Katrina something.
Yeah, Kilo eats kilos or something like that.
Katrina eats kilos. Yeah. Yeah. So I got into it for a while. I'm like, oh man, look at them slam this food.
I was in a video with Brandon the Garbage Disposal about a year ago or so. he and a YouTuber that lives in my town were doing a challenge at a place not too far from me. So I went and hung out with them for a little bit.
Nice. Amy says that she drinks socially once in a while too, but feels like trash afterwards. So I guess if I overdrank, I would, but I can have a drink once in a while socially, and I'm not phased. Again, we're talking that's on average once every 2 months, maybe now. Used to be once a month. I had a cousin that hosted an open mic night on the first Tuesday of every month, and we would go down there, just support the arrangement and order some dinner, and I'd have a drink. And I was doing it once a month, but now he doesn't run it anymore. Someone else does. And so my family doesn't go down there a lot. So I stopped going as much. I only go when they go down, and that's hardly ever. I drink on vacation or if there's a celebration or a morning. Yep. So I'll do that too when we go on vacation. So but what I won't do, I will drink a little something, but I won't. I still will not eat grains or have refined sugar, because I've actually made a personal vow that I will never touch grains or refined sugar again unless we're celebrating our wedding anniversary in December. So that's the only time that I'll actually eat grains or sugar. So I'll go throughout the rest of the year. I won't touch it, but I will occasionally have a drink, occasionally have a piece of fruit, occasionally have a vegetable. Carnivore most of the time. And yeah, the only time that I actually deviate from that is usually on the anniversary, because when you make a registration for a place, they usually ask you the reason why. You say your anniversary, and then that meal is like, $95 per person. So you bet I'm going to eat everything on that plate for what I paid for it. And then when it's done, they bring you out like, something with a little candle on it that says happy anniversary. And it's free. Of course it's free, because you just dropped $300. And I usually will have a bite of that too. free. You're so nice. So. I think talking to people in our community is the most powerful. I've had several people come to me and said I've inspired them to change their diet. Very good. Pastor Tanks, Vibe Check Limited and Company, now available lifetime access at $39.99. Anybody know what that is?
I have no idea, but I'm going to go sign up right now. Sounds like a deal.
Let me get my card.
Yum.
Vibe.
We're going to go get Target gift cards. Let's go.
Check. Vibe Check Limited. Nothing even came up. Vibe Check Marketing. I have no idea. That might have. I don't.
So a little what I do when I go streaming, after I create the stream, I go back into YouTube Studio and I do the. Let me give you the actual name of what it is here, so I can tell you. Help avoid some of that stuff. I go into. Stop that. I go into the stream that I just created, and then I go into customization. And I go down to live chat, and then you can pick subscribers only for the chats. And then you can pick like 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. And that kind of keeps that kind of stuff out.
Okay. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Cause I think that's just spam.
Yeah.
The fact that we eat sharks and gators points squarely at us being apex predators. There's some food for thought.
Yeah, until we're in their environment.
Right.
Yeah. We don't have pools.
I got a nephew that likes to swim with sharks.
Hey, Bob. Bob says hi to Bob. Bob returns hi back to Bob. So Milady laugh a lot. Yeah, I looked up that channel. I did see it. What part of Ohio are you in? I am in, so I live in a city called Stow, which is between Kent and Akron. That's where I'm at.
Okay, so you're on the northern side. Yeah, this meetup was down towards Cincinnati area.
Okay,
we've done meetups in Columbus, and there is up towards Amy. I know if you're still in the chat, what is it where Carl and Evelyn and everybody live? There's a spot up there. It's towards Toledo. There's a spot up there that we probably may have some meetups at in the near future, and we've had meetups in Elkhart, Indiana, as well. And we do a
Whoa.
meetup here in Central Indiana.
Whoa, I lived like right by Elkhart. That is cool.
Yeah, Toledo would be 2 hours from me, and so would Columbus. Both of those would be achievable for me. Cincinnati is about 5 hours, so that'd be a long drive. So
Yeah,
I want to
Cincinnati's 2 hours
I
from
want
me.
to attend a meetup so I can experience one, because actually I have a long-term goal of hosting one in Northeast Ohio, because there's none around here. So it's something that I want to eventually organize, is meetups in Northeastern Ohio or Northwestern Pennsylvania, in this area. I've had people that have expressed interest and want me to do so, but I want to attend some first, so I kind of know what they're like and what the expectations are.
We do 2 a year here in Central Indiana. We do one in May, and then we do one. I want to say the next one we have, I got to look at the date. We haven't posted anything about it. We post everything on lowcarbevents.com,
Mm-hmm.
which is run by Chris Bear from Keto Chow and Salty. Let me see. I want to say we're doing it November the 8th, I believe. Saturday, November the 8th. It'll be in Central Indiana, a little bit west of Central Indiana, in a place called AMO, Indiana.
Mm-hmm. All right. Simon says, how long does it actually take to become fat adapted? I've heard 3 to 6 months. Is that true? Could be.
It varies.
Yeah, it varies. So, you'll get into ketosis, and you'll get into, you're burning fat for fuel, as soon as your glycogen stores are emptied out, and you're not consuming carbs, but to where you become adapted to where your body actually prefers fat for energy, because modern nutrition and dietitians will tell you that your body prefers carbs for energy, until that switches and you're fat adapted, and that's what the body really wants, prefers. That could take some time, and but I think you would, you're going to see benefits long before you truly become thoroughly fat adapted.
And I don't know when I became fat adapted. I can't tell you a time or date, but I felt like within a month for me. Because I mean, after a month, I was pretty well locked in, felt good,
Mm-hmm.
no more keto flu, no more diarrhea, and I had the energy, and I felt great. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when it happened, but I would say at least within 30 days for me.
Yeah. So it's going to be very individualistic. It could be a few weeks to a few months,
Mm-hmm.
and in some rare circumstances, maybe up to a year, especially like if you're like a gym bro, or you're very athletic, one of the things you'll notice at first, because this is what a lot of people complain about, is they feel like they take a performance hit, because they used to load up on carbs and hit the gym, and then now they're trying to run on fat, and they don't feel like they can perform as much as they used to be able to. And that's true. That happens, but it does come back as you become fat adapted. So, you might notice a performance hit in the gym for a while, but don't give up hope. Continue to have faith, as someone said in the chat earlier, because that, as you become fat adapted, that performance targets that you were hitting before, you will hit them again, but this time you'll be fat adapted and using fat for energy. But that might take time. You might see that take a little longer if you're that kind of an active individual.
Well, and if it is taking longer for some people, it could be that they're not giving up something in their diet that has carbs. And it could be that they're not eating properly. They're not eating enough fat. They're eating too much protein. There could be several different factors in there for that individual that is preventing them from becoming fully fat adapted until they change that in their diet. Because most people, when they start out on carnivore, do not eat enough food, and they don't eat enough fat. They tend to eat too much protein. And so that can really hinder you becoming fat adapted, I believe.
Yeah. Hello, retired chick carnivore. Who's everyone on the panel? Can't see names here. Let me fix that for you real quick. There we are. So Bob, Kurt, Rick across the top, Geoff, and Dustin on the bottom. So, yep, that's who's on the panel. So you're probably tuning in from either Dustin's channel or Rick's channel, and we thank you for coming in and saying hi. That's who we are. So, and we're here every Monday at 8 o'clock till whenever. It's 11:30. It looks like it's after 11 today. This is a record for us. So, all right.
Normally we're done by now.
Yeah, usually at 10:30 I put the brakes on it. So, but I'm enjoying tonight's conversation so much, and it was themeless. We came into this with no theme. Usually we come up with a theme and we have an outline to keep the conversation going, but this one's just progressed naturally. It's been very nice.
Been great.
Yeah. All right. Lisa's off to bed. Good night. If you're still here, I'm sure you're not. Good night. And yeah, that is a
Guten
spam.
Nacht and good geschlafen.
So I didn't know Rick was going live. So he's restreaming it tonight. So this is actually going on the Carnivore Talk channel, and it was start at 8. He joins us at 9, and he's here almost every Monday, and he happened to be restreaming at this time. So that's why you've been surprised.
There you
I
go.
didn't restream it, but I didn't have a chance to set up
You got an extra dose of Rick tonight. You haven't had enough Rick.
If Saturday wasn't bad enough.
Now you got more. And then I heard you say something, Dustin. What was that?
I was like, I would have restreamed it to my channel, but I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough warning to create like a thumbnail and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, if you want to restream it next Monday, you're more than welcome to come back. So come back as much as you want, and join us. Just happened to catch it on YouTube. We have the realtor in Indiana, multitasking. Hello, glad you could tune in. All right.
Welcome.
And yeah, I need a moderator. Block that guy.
Somebody said, Rick Wing Duck, let's get dangerous. There's some dark winged duck right there.
Quack, quack.
You can't eat him, Rick.
Uh-oh. Quack.
Orbital Hub said, I had some strawberries for the first time since last summer. They were intense. Yeah, they were probably the most strawberry tasting strawberries you can remember after not having some for so long. And
so I just got a question for Dustin. Where are you located in Indiana?
I'm kind of like right in central, like right between like Indianapolis, Claremont, and Brownsburg.
You close to Kokomo?
No, Kokomo's like, I don't know, an hour from me or so.
So you're further south.
Yeah, I'm like right in the center of Indiana. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Indianapolis, yeah.
Close to 31.
Yeah, that's like that splits Indiana right down the middle, like lengthwise. I'm about like 20 minutes from that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm like 8 miles from the Indianapolis 500.
Wow, gotcha. Yeah. Well, maybe next time I'm in the area, I'll drop by.
Yeah.
Feral Grandmother said, semi-retired Bob is Bob. Is that just is she just mentioning another Bob, or was the Bob that was in here?
Semi-retired Bob is, I guess, the retired Bob. That's what everybody knows him by.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if the Bob that was in here though, that wasn't him, or else it would have said semi-retired Bob.
Yeah.
In his hands. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody said they were no longer something else. They were no longer retired something. They are now whatever. So I think that was confusing to somebody.
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't have my specs on, and I'm getting old.
All right. Let's see here. Howdy, beautiful quackers. Just got home. We know where that person comes from.
Quack, quack.
If there's any duck reference,
That's me.
yep. Oh, reports out of southern Florida report a mysterious iguana hunter being pulled by a flotilla of ducks on his water skis.
It's the Quack Army.
He showed up only after a duck silhouette was projected against the night sky. That's funny. Call the duck man. Stow, Ohio is only 6 hours from me. Yeah, where we're are you and then Dustin?
I'm
Are
not
you,
sure what
are
time
you
you're from.
answering for her? Is she in Findlay?
No, Findlay is where I was saying that that's like right up by Toledo.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Finley's
Yeah,
up
you're
north.
like 5 hours on the dot from me.
5 hours on the dot?
Yeah, like 5 hours and a minute. Like
Mhm.
I put it in there somewhere.
Yeah, you said Central Indiana. I see there.
Yep.
There. Rick Wing Duck. Let's get dangerous. All right.
Oh,
Kokomo is between Dustin and up north where I'm at.
Yeah, and she's an Elkhart.
Oh, here's
Oh,
Bob.
wow. Yeah, I know where Elkhart is.
This Bob says he's semi as well. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is Bob.
You know who that is? That's old Hilly.
That's
Yeah.
old Hilly. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's funny because you know in the forum you remember people by their usernames.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Well, I just happened to spot his avatar there and saw the catfish, so I know who it was.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, Bob, you should jump on in here. So I posted a link up above. I'll post it again. But I am going to say I'm going to bail in about 9 minutes. It'll be 11:30 for me. And I've had it.
I'm with you.
I'm ready
I'm
for
right
bed.
there.
All right.
Just when you're
It's been a
done, we're
good
done. I
talk.
suppose.
Oh, you know what? I've streamed so long that Facebook cut us off.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
wow.
I stopped streaming to Facebook because they're only going to keep the streams for 30 days, which means you can't grow a following and have them
Right.
go back and watch your stuff. So I started streaming to Rumble instead.
good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X on here. Just because those are the first three that came to my mind. I do have an audience at that. I've got a couple likes and I had some viewers and comments from Facebook today. But I did notice that the other day I got a message saying that my first live from like 6 weeks ago was going to be deleted in 30 days. So I'm like, what's
Yep.
the point?
Yeah,
What's
there's
the
no
point
real
of that?
point there. Yeah.
I
I
told you
usually
go to
do-
Rumble.
Yeah, I do YouTube, X, and Rumble. Rumble's a little harder to set up. It's not like just kind of click. You've got to go in and you got to create it in Rumble as well. And if you're not a subscription member or whatever, you can't do it more than like a day and a half, 2 days before the stream, setting it up, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But when you then I use a different I use EV Mux, but I imagine using StreamYard would be the same. You go and you put your stream key and all that stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm going to check into EV Mux because it looks like it's cheaper and you get more on-screen participants. So
yeah,
so
and it's way more customization. If you want to go take a look at my Sunday lives, you can see what they look like. That's using EV Mux, like some of the newer ones. That you can get as fancy and as detailed as you want.
Yeah, I was just looking at price comparisons, and it looks like EV Mux does the same thing, but it's a much better deal. Because I'm at 10 on-screen participants, no backstage, and stream to 3 platforms, and that's $45 a month.
Yeah, I started on StreamYard, then they switched the price, and I had to find something else.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is some of there's better storage on StreamYard. You get more lives than you do with EV Mux. I have to go in and download them and delete them a lot more often. But I mean, it's still half the price.
Right. Oh, then unless you do some post-stream editing, it's on YouTube now, so we kind of don't need it sitting over there in your storage.
I just download it and I back it up just in case something ever happens with YouTube and they kill my channel or whatever. But
yeah. So that's I think EV Mux. I was talking to Tom at Target Prime Rib. He uses both, but he uses EV Mux during the day. He has a chew the fat thing every day at 11, and he doesn't pay for it. He just uses the free versions of them. And but that's the first I had heard of it. So I looked it up and I'm like, man, this looks like a much better deal. But for some reason, StreamYard that's all you ever hear. It seems like everybody uses StreamYard and everybody.
Well, the funny thing is when I went to cancel my StreamYard, they wanted to lower the price.
Oh,
amazing.
But I had already started paying for EV Mux. So I was like, well, you kind of lost me. You shouldn't have raised it. I mean, you shouldn't have. I mean, if they would have, I've used it since like 2021, and it was $25. And if it like after 5 years or whatever, they raised it like $5, I'd have been like, cool. Cost of living, everything's going to kind of go up a little bit by a little bit, right? But they went from $25 to $45, and I'm like,
nope,
that's not comparable.
Yeah, and I think the even the amount of destinations you can stream to. EV Mux.
I can't remember how many it lets you. I do 3. Because Instagram doesn't like you can't mute your stream on Instagram, so you get all this awful feedback.
Oh yeah, I heard it's difficult to stream to Instagram. I heard that's another one where you got to actually go to Instagram and start it up manually. I don't know if that's true
have
or
a
not.
second device to do it with, otherwise you can't mute it. It's just a pain.
So yeah, so EV Mux here, like the basic, $19 a month, 12 on-screen participants, unlimited streams, and stream to 4 destinations. So right away, I get an extra destination, and I get 12 participants instead of 10. And then
that's I think $20 if you're paying annually, right?
Yeah, if you're paying annually, yeah. Let me hit the toggle. Yeah. If I go monthly, it's 25. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so the 49 monthly or 39 if it's annual, you get. Well, then you can do a pre-recorded stream. They don't allow that on their basic one. But you can have 12, say the same thing, 12 on-screen participants, multiple cameras. I don't need that anyway. But you can multi-stream to 9 destinations. So I just can't think of 9 destinations.
I mean, you don't need even if you have multi-camera, you don't really need. You just get a switcher, and you can switch between, and it still thinks you have one camera. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I could go from $45 a month down to $19 a month. And gain an extra destination. So it seems like a no-brainer.
There is a learning curve. Give yourself about 2 weeks to kind of get it all figured out. And I'll help you too if you have any questions. But it took me a little while to figure some of that stuff out, like how to figure out where your super chats are and stuff. There's just a lot of little things that's different.
All right, gentlemen, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good night.
Yep. Good to meet you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go too. It's
bedtime.
All right. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Dustin from Keto Simple, Rick from Charger Mopar, Geoff, Kurt, as usual. If you want to talk to us throughout the week, come over to carnivore-talk.com. That's the forum where we help people every day of the week with their carnivore type questions. And we'll see you there. And we'll see you next Monday. So again, thank you and have a good night. And I'm going to end the stream. And if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to.